Rob Van Dam, listen to Tru Heel Heat. Pow.
What's up, Tru Heel Heat?
Tru Heel Heat.
What's up? Tru Heel Heat. All hands is
Hey guys, this is Rosa and welcome to Tru Heel Heat.
Yes, indeed. It is Saturday morning, and you know what that means. It's time for some Tru Heel Heat. Busy weekend ahead, but not so busy week. But of course, we got news. If you know we got news, it's either one of two names: Vince McMahon or CM Punk. CM Punk is in the news again. First, he was wanting to come back. Now he's expected to come back. The plans are in place for CM Punk's return to AEW, his willingness to work with the elite's non-willingness to work with CM Punk, a possible roster split for All Elite Wrestling with a new Saturday show. Drew McIntyre wants to leave WWE, or is he done with WWE? I don't know. Check his social media if you want to find out. But if you want to find out all the news, stick with us right here. It's the Saturday Cookout. It's Tru Heel Heat. We got the Tru Draw Josh. We got Cresta Starr. Let's get into it. Producer, oh, that's me. Hit the intro. Hello, hello, hello. It is me, your Tru Heel Feedom, SP3. We are live on the Tru Heel Heat YouTube and Facebook for Tru Heel Heat 221. Punk Everlasting, discussing the latest wrestling news, including CM Punk expected to be back in AEW soon, as well as a possible split of the roster with a new Saturday show. Recap of this week in wrestling with AEW Dynamite featuring Jeff Hardy's return to AEW. You had Rampage last night, WWE Smackdown last night, Raw, NXT, Impact on AXS TV, ROH TV. Plus, we got preview and predictions for some huge shows for this weekend. New Japan Pro Wrestling Collision weekend with Capital Collision tonight and Collision in Philadelphia tomorrow. AAA Triple Mania 31 Monterrey tomorrow night, and Impact Wrestling Rebellion 2023, plus much, much more. Miss Chrissy Love is out. Happy birthday to her. She's celebrating, getting day parties, getting crunk, getting lit like she usually would get lit with us here, but she's resting up because she's probably had a long week so far. The baby Seth is not with us in the producer's seat because he's on the road to the Collision weekend for New Japan, but we got the person who was with us last week, who filled in so nice he had to be here twice, back-to-back weeks. He is the Tru Jaw. You see him on Rated Raw Superstars. You see him on Elite Heat. It's the Tru Jaw, Josh.
Hey, yeah, it's good to be back for 2 weeks in a row. I've never done this, so I look forward to talking about Phil Brooks.
Phil Brooks. Phil Brooks is at it again. Punk Everlasting. I think that's one of my favorite titles that I came up with. It just hit me. I was trying to figure out. I was like, okay, we got CM Punk again. How do I put this into the title? I was gonna be the young and the punkless, or it was Punk Everlasting, and I went with Punk Everlasting. I think I did well. Ladies and gentlemen. We got our special guest who's about to join us. We got to give her the proper intro because she's got some surprises for us. She's already told me in the chat. But we thank everyone who's joining us live here for the Saturday morning cookout, our Tru Heel Heat flagship podcast, which is here every single Saturday, 11:05 a.m. Eastern Time on the Tru Heel Heat YouTube channel. We appreciate you for joining us live or even watching us on demand. Remember, show your appreciation back. Drop the thumbs up on this video. Share this video with all your wrestling fans, friends, and family on all your favorite social media platforms. If you are new to the Tru Heel Heat YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button. Hit the bell to stay notified for all the great content here. Got plenty of great content from this past week. We had our New Japan Pro Wrestling Collision Weekend preview. We had our Impact Rebellion preview yesterday with me and Joel Pearl. We dropped a new interview with Steve Macklin ahead of his big matchup at Rebellion tomorrow night. So plenty of great content to enjoy. Hit the subscribe button as we are approaching 6,000 subscribers. Thank you so much for supporting us here. Make it 2023 our biggest year yet. Already surpassed the amount of subscribers we gained in 2022, and we're just going to keep it pushing for the rest of 2023. And of course, we are an interactive podcast, so sound off in the live chat. We want to hear from all of you. Let us know what you thought about this weekend wrestling. And of course, your super chat donations are also important. It helps the channel grow. It helps us to give back to the contributors that you see on screen here every single day here on the Tru Heel Heat YouTube channel, and it'll make sure we highlight your comment on screen. We got Alan Banky in the chat who says, "What's up, SP3, Josh, and Miss Cresta? How are you guys doing this morning?" I'm doing well. How about you, Josh?
I'm doing fine. Just got a long day ahead, so just first stop here.
First stop. He got to do some partying himself. He's like Chrissy. He's like Chrissy out here. I'm not like Chrissy. Chrissy getting crunk right now. But Negro Buck in the chat, he says it's Saturday morning, and you know what that means. Time for Tru Heel Heat, baby. We also got Ace in the chat who says, "What's up, Josh, SP3 and Cresta?" We got Frantic World saying, "What's up, THH, Cresta, and chat?" We got Ace, excellent. Come on. Did y'all enjoy watching SmackDown and Rampage last night? I enjoyed watching Rampage. SmackDown, I was hearing. We'll discuss it. Dolores says, "What's up, everyone?" We got Negro Buck who says, "I like the young and the punkless." Hey. CM Punk's going to give us plenty more news to talk about in the next couple of months. Don't you worry. We can bring that. We can resurrect that. I'm pretty sure as soon as possible. But of course, we want to thank everyone who's joining us live, watching us on demand, and anyone who's supporting us on social media. Our Patreon page, patreon.com/Tru Heel Heat. $3 a month gets you in the door. You got exclusive content over there. We got the Raw Report, Dark Power, usually every single week. We got the Tru Heel Heat Prediction Championship, week 2 starting up. I'm trying to get back, climb the ladder again, and start my ascent to get the three-time championship. But people are ahead of me right now. So you can join and be a part of that. It's still early for you to be a part of that. $3 a month. That is the best way to support us actively on this channel. And we love to shout out anyone who's supporting us on Patreon, our YouTube channel, and social media. So we start off with our Tru Heel Roll Call, our Tru Heel Trinity, our top 3 conversation starters on the Tru Heels group page. We got Stewie Palmer. Number 2, we got Alan Weinstein. And number 1, the Negro Buck, Nick Jackson. Our Patreon backers, we got Nick Jackson, we got Alan Weinstein, Vala B, Alex McCarthy, Professor Chris, Austin K, You My Boy Blue, Yachty, Robert, Steve, Antoine, 5th Generation Carney, Ladarius, John, Dan, Kobe, Queen Monet, Dolores, John Martin, DJ Eric, Beat Boop, Marcus Ryan, Justin Ridge, and Jennifer Jackson. Thank you so much for supporting us. And Alan Banky, almost forgot you. but I never forget you, brother, and one of our newest Patreon backers, Alan Banky. Thank you so much for supporting us at patreon.com/Tru Heel Heat. We appreciate the support. We got here in the chat the Negro Buck saying, I definitely enjoyed Rampage. They had a real good opener. It started early too, right after the NBA playoffs and against SmackDown. That was very interesting. I don't know. Do you think it's going to do well in the ratings since it's following up from the NBA play-in game, Josh?
I mean, that's what you hope. I just don't know because there was so much going on. You had the NBA, then you had SmackDown, and then they went right into that. Even, I mean, last time they went head-to-head in a half an hour, Rampage did outdo SmackDown one time, so it's possible.
That is true. It was interesting. It was interesting to say the least. I had to have Rampage on the laptop. I usually would have AEW on the big screen, but I had to have it on the laptop since it started after SmackDown. We got AC says SmackDown was something. Yeah, it was something. King of the North saying here to see SP3 thoughts about Madcap Moss making an invisible box and drop kicking it. That entrance was fucking awful. And oh my God, because we probably won't talk about it when we talk about the show, but Madcap Moss might have had the worst fall away slam in the history of professional wrestling, Josh.
Oh boy. Isn't that, wait a minute, the fall away slam, isn't that how he injured this dude? Isn't that how he injured Kenta?
Oh, you might be right. Maybe that's why he was so cautious with it. I don't know, but hey. We also got Alan Banky who says, not this season, SP3. That crown is coming home to its new daddy. We'll see about that, Alan Banky. You getting really happy about week 1 results. It's not about how you start. It's about how you finish. It's not a sprint. It's a marathon. It's a marathon, not a sprint.
I mean, and out of all people, he should know because, I mean, you know, everyone got hype about the Mavs making the playoffs, and they were out of the playoffs. So he should be the first one to know that. You got to play it smart. You got to play it smart, not full dumb.
Got caught it straight already, Alan Bakey, talking too much. We got Frantic World. He said WBD just need to make Rampage a 2-hour show and go against SmackDown. Give me the Friday Night War. That is a war they would lose.
Yeah, you don't want to. That's you just asking. Yeah, what? You don't want to do that. Yeah.
That would not be a good decision, ladies and gentlemen, not at all. But let's get into what we missed, and what we missed this week was, first up, we're going to talk about AEW Dynamite. AEW Dynamite from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. The show did 866,000 viewers this week, so down slightly from last week, going against 2 NBA play-in games. But this show featured a surprising return as Jeff Hardy made his comeback to All Elite Wrestling to help his brother Matt, Isaiah Cassidy, and Hook against the Firm. Jeff Hardy looking good out there. We're always hoping that this is the last chance that he needs to prove himself. His spiritual predecessor, Darby Allin, pulled off a good win over Swerve Strickland in an excellent opener between the two longtime rivals. Post-match, MJF came out to talk down to Darby and remind him of his win over Allin from Full Gear 2021. Darby talked about his journey and helping his dad retire early, talking about Sting being his best friend in this entire damn company. But MJF told him that his coffin will read, or his tombstone will read, Darby Allin, Sting's bitch, which led to Sting coming out and recapping his career, giving shout outs to Ric Flair, Scott Hall, and Kevin Nash, before promising that Darby will win the AEW World title in what was a terrific promo exchange from these 3 men. You also had Wardlow make his return to destroy Powerhouse Hobbs' new car, and to also, following Powerhouse Hobbs' win over Silas Young, 43 seconds. Poor Silas Young in Milwaukee. Then Wardlow came out, brawled with Powerhouse Hobbs before powerbombing Aaron Solo off the ramp champ through a table. You also had Orange Cassidy in another great matchup for the AEW International Championship, this time against Buddy Matthews, getting the win with the mousetrap to retain the title. You also had the Blackpool Combat Club commit murder pretty much against the Elite Drop Squad of Brandon Cutler and Michael Nakazawa in a bloody one-sided affair. Post-match, though, Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks, a little late for Nakazawa and Cutler, but they did make their return as well and take it to the Blackpool Combat Club. And it almost looked like Kenny Omega was about to stab Jon Moxley with a screwdriver before the Blackpool Combat Club bailed out of the ring. Josh, you were watching it live here on the YouTube channel on Elite Heat. What was your highlight or highlight and low light from this week's AEW Dynamite?
Highlight was the promo exchange. I thought Sting was really good. And I was telling everybody, I was like, it kind of felt like a dad promo where he was like living out like the glory days, but he did it so well that it really matched up with what MJF was going about. He came out with like the jacket. I was like, yo, he's going like full like dad mode. Okay, like he came out. No, but I thought that whole segment was very well. You know, Jungle Boy has done okay so far when it comes to that. Darby, I think, has been the best one out of the other three because Sammy's promo last week, I mean, it was rough because he said so much for something that was so simple, and I think he did a little too much. That was like, bro, it's very simple. Just keep it simple, right? And I think that's where Sammy kind of fall apart. It wasn't like so much it was like bad, but it was because he said too much. That's where it kind of like floundered. But Darby has been pretty good. Darby's been, like I said, he's been the best one out of all of them when it comes to these exchanges, because they do have a little bit more history, MJF and Darby, in comparison to the other guys. But that was probably my highlight. Low light. Probably say the women's match. Not the match itself, but it's just.
Yeah, I was gonna say I like the match. It was just the
match. Yeah,
and it's because they did it 3 segments in a row with the heels getting the beat down and then the babyface save 3 segments.
Yeah, and it was just, you know, and that's why the only reason why we gave like the elite when we gave like the LVPs, the only reason why is because everybody in the chat, right? They were saying that LVPs were with Britt and Jamie for coming out late. But then we had to remind everybody, we're like, whoa, hold on. The elite were way more late. You know, their peoples were freaking, they basically got booked for a live murder and they were getting killed out there. And they didn't come out until after. I was like, yo, like, that's worse. That was worse. Like, you know, Jamie and Britt had no loyalty to freaking Rio and Sky. I was like, these are their men. So they gave me off. But that was the only reason why. That was the only reason why we gave them LVP, because of that. Because the chat were trying to, like, you know, they were trying to say it was Britt. I was like, no, these guys were worse at that. Let's be real. We're worse at that. But I don't know, man. Like the stable, I get what the stable is trying to do. It just feels very cheesy. That's where it comes down to. Like the spray paint shit is stupid. Yeah, that was probably the low point for me on the show.
And they really can't decide if they want to be the AEW version of the Bella Twins, the female version of the NWO, and then this week they were Wish.com version of the Shield with the triple power bomb. Yeah. And that's what I was like, oh boy. I was like, what's going on here? It's like they're trying to figure out what to be, and they're just rehashing a lot of things, which that usually never comes off very well. It doesn't, just because we could see that as unoriginal. Well, it comes off as unoriginal. I don't want to claim that they're stealing stuff, because I don't think that's what it is. Yeah. But that's how it comes off to the viewers, because it's like, we've seen this before. You know, you're supposed to be a new stable. What's the goal of the stable? And I haven't seen anything unique that is like, wow, I love this group. I think the trio is fine itself. I just think the direction they're going is
is flat at the moment.
Yeah, it's like I just want them to pick one struggle and actually accomplish their goals. Either just win the match, because they've been on a little bit of a winning streak since adding Ruby Soho. Just win a match and then walk out. Why do you need to do the post-match beatdown if you know someone's gonna come out and make the save? If you keep doing the same thing and you know the result, you just come off like idiots.
Yeah, and that's where it falls flat for me.
I think my highlight for the show was definitely the Darby Allin versus Swerve Strickland match into the promo with Sting and MJF. And I would also say the Orange Cassidy versus Buddy Matthews. I think it's either one or two of like either one or two, top two of Darby of Orange Cassidy's title defenses for the AEW International Championship. I think the only one that was probably better was the Wheeler Yuta matchup, but this was right up there with that one. Just strong psychology with Darby. I keep calling him Darby. Orange Cassidy selling the hand and then making his comeback and just squeaking by. And I love the story they're telling with him getting worn down with each defense now after 18 successful title defenses of the AEW International Championship.
Yeah, and he's actually been having a really great run. I don't think people are really giving him enough credit. He sure as hell has been making the belt more like presentable than the TNT title, in my opinion. And that's kind of what the TNT title should have been. They kind of lost that spark where, when Cody was the champion, he was doing these open challenges, which kind of gave it credibility. Darby, his first run, he was having those matches too. Miro had 7 title defenses. And then after that, it's kind of been stagnant. With Pac, when he was the first champion, it was more so, he was going more of the what was the route, like the European tour route, so he was defending there. So now when you get to see it, now he's he's been a really good champion in my opinion.
Yeah, I think this is one of the best runs of any of the mid-card titles, the TNT Championship. I feel like this reign has really positioned the International Championship as the top mid-card title above the TNT Championship, because the TNT Championship has still not recovered from the Sammy Scorpio Sky feud.
No, it has not. Yeah, it hasn't. And it's like now the problem is that even after that, the problem is that when you have you had Wardlow being champion, they had him stuck with friggin' Samoa Joe for whatever reason. Then Joe becomes the champion, and then Darby gets it for a little bit, which it started to become a little bit credible again. But then they took it off with Darby again, and then now you have Hobbs is champion, which I don't want to say it's been terrible. It hasn't been great either. They just haven't really done anything with it. That's the problem.
Yeah, I think it's not a problem like King of the North mentioning Hobbs' first 2 title defenses were against the Lucha Bros. That belt feels important. Those matches were on Rampage, which
that's the problem.
They instantly go down a bit because it's not as watched as Dynamite. If one of those matches happened on Dynamite, then I would say it feels important again. But they did kind of irreversible damage to it with the whole hot potato of going from Joe beating Darby to Joe losing it to Wardlow losing it to Powerhouse Hobbs, that it's going to take some time into Powerhouse Hobbs' reign before it feels as important as it did when it went from Joe being the king of the television to go into Darby's strong short reign in a month.
Yeah, and then also if he beats Wardlow again for their rematch, I think that's where you can finally say, hey, let's get back to that. Let's get back on track with the title. Which is fine. The point was great about the 2 title defenses, but like you said, it was on Rampage. So it's not a lot of people know about that, unfortunately.
Exactly. Not a lot of people are watching that. But someone that they are watching always is our special guest this week, Josh, joining us from Fightful Wrestling for their Impact post show. You've seen her on TikTok, one of our favorite special guests from last year. Always fun, always full of laughs. It is Cresta Starr with her Vince McMahon mustache. How are you doing, Cresta McMahon?
There's a lot. There's not a lot of WWE talk in this channel, and I just want to tell you that this is shit. Listen, I can't laugh too much. This mustache is holding on by the specter of Bob Backlund right now. That man's not even dead. I need to stop saying that, but it's holding on. It's holding on, bro. If I laugh too much, and if you say anything about my mustache being crooked, know that it takes men a very long time to grow a mustache, and you might be a bigot. And you're anti-woman if you say anything about my mustache. So what's up? How is everyone? What's going on in the wrestling world? How are we this afternoon?
I think that's the best mustache I've seen on a woman ever. There you go. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. Cresta, thank you for joining us, for turning to our channel, being up before 1 p.m. on the weekend. We know you love us. We appreciate it. Thank you for joining us.
Stop making me laugh. Stop. My mustache will come off.
How are you?
Besides, I gotta hold. I'm good. It's hot. It's like 1,000 degrees in New York City. I have been so out of the loop with wrestling, so I'm excited to get my wrestling brain massages in. When there's RuPaul season, I don't watch wrestling on Fridays to give myself a break. But there's more RuPaul coming up, so there's no breaks. So I'm here. Let's talk. Let's talk shop. Let's talk Vincent Kennedy, Cresta Starr, man.
Well, we're going to talk about the second person who creates the most wrestling news out there behind your favorite Vince McMahon or non
CM Punk.
Yes, indeed. That's who we're talking about right now. Let's get into our top news story, which is, of course, CM Punk expected back in AEW. The status of CM Punk in AEW has been in question since last September when Punk was involved in the brawl with the Elite after All Out. FTR's Dax Harwood has said that Punk wants to return, but there are rumors that some in the company don't want him back. On Wednesday, Fightful Select reported that Punk has reportedly told AEW multiple times that he wants to come back to the company. Punk is still has the wrestling bug and has said Steve Keirn's book made him miss the business. And Punk has even pitched several return scenarios to All Elite Wrestling, which includes a willingness to work with the Elite, Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks. However, as of a few months ago, the Elite were not as enthusiastic about working with Punk. It's unknown if that has changed as AEW works on negotiating new deals with Omega and the Bucks. Punk also has said that he's willing to return to AEW and be kept completely separate from the Elite. Some talent believe that the upcoming AEW Saturday show could help with that, as there will be some separation of the AEW roster, but that's not an official plan. Punk is also open to working elsewhere, although it's unknown if that means a AEW offshoot like Ring of Honor, WWE, or even a partner like New Japan Pro Wrestling. And then on Thursday, Fightful Select reported that while nothing is certain right now and things can absolutely change, and that should be emphasized, there is a working and tentative plan for Punk to return at the June 21st episode of AEW Dynamite in Chicago at Wintrust Arena. In a post on Twitter, AEW announced that they will return to Chicago on June 21st, which is the final Dynamite before Forbidden Door 2. The event happens at the Wintrust Arena and tickets go on sale on April 21st. And the report notes that there were pitches around announcing the appearance ahead of time, potentially around the Warner upfront that are scheduled on May 17th, though the report does not mention if the announcement went beyond the pitching stage. Punk has reportedly been wanting to have a meeting involving everyone for a while, though there's no word on if any progress on that has been made. There was also a meeting planned between Punk and Chris Jericho, who have had issues to see if they can work together. And the report notes that there has been more movement within Warner Brothers Discovery regarding an announcement for the rumored Saturday show being designed for a soft roster split to allow talent who want to stay separate from particular situations, CM Punk, to do so. Members of the roster that Fightful has spoken to have heard that the talks for a new show, but not about Punk's possible return. And Dave Meltzer has now provided further details of feelings backstage in AEW AEW regarding CM Punk, writing in the current Wrestling Observer newsletter that, as reported here the past 2 weeks, a Punk return is largely expected. It's a tenacious situation because the dressing room issues involving him have not been settled at all at press time. The working idea was that the Saturday show would star Punk and that they would split crews to a large degree. History does show that the splitting crews never last long, but in this case, the idea is to ease the dressing room problems in the sense those who have not made up would be kept on different crews and wouldn't have to interact with each other. Still, there are to be instances such as pay-per-view shows or Wembley Stadium and some television shows where it has to be all hands on deck. And then on Friday, to make matters worse, I think, the Brandon Cutler of the Elite deleted a tweet responding to a Deadspin article saying that CM Punk is gaslighting AEW, where he simply replied, "Someone gets it." And according to Dave Meltzer on Figure 4 Online on Friday, there is a meeting scheduled soon in AEW with Chris Jericho, CM Punk, Tony Khan, FTR, and perhaps one other non-wrestler, Raw wrestler personality. So, Cresta, what do you think about all this CM Punk mess? And do you believe that AEW needs CM Punk to return? Or do you think it's a case of Punk needs AEW to return to wrestling and to end off his career in a proper form?
I feel two ways about this. One, you would be silly. Issues aside, Punk is still a hot topic. Punk makes money. He's a draw. I may feel the same way about Logan Paul. Like, why are you here? A draw. A draw. Whether you like it or not, he's a draw. So to have CM Punk leave your company and go back to WWE, not saying he would, but that's a loss. That's a loss. I think that you're not going to get along with everyone you work with. That I've worked over the years with tons of people that I wish to this day would fall in a well full of dicks. Oh, can I curse? I'm sorry. I always forget.
Yes, you can. This is Tru Heel Heat. You know this. Go ahead.
There's a bunch of people that I could still name their first and last name. So I'm like, you know what? I'm not actively participating in your downfall. But if you fell, I'd be like, God's plan. However, I get it. I don't want to be physical with someone I'm play fighting with, and now I got to give you a receipt. And next thing I know, we shoot fighting on national television. Not everyone's going to get along. But again, I do think that it is silly to let Punk walk away or you walk away. That's a lot of money on the table, whether you like him or not. I am of the mind, too, of Righteous Reg. These are all workers. They working from the time they clock in to the time they log into Twitter to the time they're on TikTok. These are workers, and we're all getting worked. And I don't mind getting worked, but I don't want to pretend like I know. We're all getting worked. We don't know the truth. Yeah. We will not know the truth until Dark Side of the Ring 4088 comes out. You know what I mean? But this is, to me, everything is a work in professional wrestling. And if everything's a work, why am I going to work myself into a shoot? There's money to be made, whether you like it or not. A CM Punk versus the Elite storyline, this is going to be all of us. You know you're going to watch it. Whether or not you agree with it. Yeah, you're going to watch it. You either want to see CM Punk get beat up or you want to see the Elite get beat up. That's all it is. I think that splitting the roster may or may not work, but that will require you guys to make more than like storylines for the Elite and Britt Baker. So
yes. No, I agree. I totally agree with you that I think that it should be them kind of just finding a way to work together because this is the biggest thing AEW can do with the current roster is having the Elite work with CM Punk. But even if they don't want to do that, there are a lot of other options to work with CM Punk. And at this time, the momentum swing is kind of shifted because, you know, Vince McMahon being back in WWE has made people kind of fall off the WWE bandwagon and they're looking for a new home and to swing that pendulum the other way with, you know, Jay White choosing to go to AEW, FTR choosing to re-sign, and now CM Punk possibly coming back, plus the big Wembley Stadium show. This is all the things AEW need to do to kind of get back to where they were 2 years ago in 2021. So I definitely agree with where you're coming from. Josh,
I think that, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say, I think that diversity in wrestling creates jobs, creates money, creates cash in everyone's pocket. Whether it's WWE, AEW, Impact, Ring of Honor, you now have all of these options where before it was like, you want to make money, you're going to the Fed. And if they don't like you, you're going to be in catering, but you'll make money. Like, you want to go wrestle, you can go other places, but so.
I agree. Josh, what do you think about this latest development and the tentative plan to bring back CM Punk, and then, meetings happening to sit everybody down in the room? Do you think it's a possibility that Tony Khan could make this work, where either he has CM Punk be able to work with guys like Chris Jericho, Kenny Omega, and the Young Bucks, or do you think that the best possible plan for him is to keep everybody separate?
I mean, like I said the other day too, I think it's an easy fix, but it's just a matter of everyone involved. Everyone involved just has to make it work. Like, if that's what's going to happen. Now, if that's not what they want to do, that's, them working separately, that's what eventually is going to happen. I don't know if it's going to work or not, because it's just a situation that, that hasn't been here yet with AEW. So we don't know, like, what's the long-term solution to that. As for Punk coming back, I mean, at this point, I wasn't really surprised that he's going to come back, just because, knowing how he is, remember how he left WWE, he made it clear he was not coming back. When this whole situation with AEW happened, that really didn't happen. The only thing you heard was like reports of, he's doing this or that, or he's trying to buy out of his contract, where it turns out to be, I guess, false, because, if you're trying to buy your contract, you're not going to be coming back to a company. But I mean, him coming back, I see it like this too. When it comes to dealing with CM Punk, right? Of all the people that we've seen over the years in wrestling, is Punk like the worst individual out of all of that? No, he's not. In my opinion, he's not. I think what it is with CM Punk is that CM Punk has a strong personality, right? And there's times where he's misunderstood, because there's times where I understand where he comes from. I understand the points that he makes. It's always about his delivery. That's where he looks bad. It's his delivery. For example, the incident with All Out, right? He goes on this rant about what was going on, right? So when he goes on about Colt Cabana, I think all Punk was doing was defending himself, which it's okay. I just think it was terrible timing that he's doing that at that moment, because remember, over the years, this is something that Punk has to deal with, because people constantly bring it up. People constantly bring up what happened, and Punk looks like the bad guy in the situation, where in reality, the situation is so complicated that I kind of don't really blame CM Punk for what happened, because it's an issue. It's a personal issue when it comes to friends and money. That's what happened, and Punk being who he is, people automatically assume Punk was in the wrong for that. And when it comes to what he did, again, with when he calling out the Bucks and everything, these are just things where you could just go by assumption, right? Supposedly that they're feeding, these reporters and all this stuff, even though technically CM Punk has been doing it with SRS. So I mean,
is it a coincidence that Punk's return to wrestling was first reported by Fightful and Sean?
Oh, I gotta go. Y'all is Fightful slander.
No, I'm not blaming.
No. Yeah.
I'm just saying that
I'm kidding.
Someone close to Punk that is giving the information. And then you're getting mad at somebody for giving information to Dave Meltzer. And then first it was the Elite are doing it. Then in his IG post, Chris Jericho's doing it. It's like, dude, say the one narrative. He creates these narratives in his head.
Control your narrative?
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think your narrative, CM.
Yeah. And I think more so what it is that maybe he feels like maybe there's like, what they're reporting is there's no truth to it, and maybe that's why he's speaking up. because there's one thing if somebody's gonna tell you, right, they're gonna feed somebody some reports, right? Just me personally, people are gonna feed something about me. At least at least the story should be accurate. You know what I mean? So if it's something that's not accurate, I could see Punk being a type of individual being upset about that, because it's like, what the fuck? Like, this is not how I feel. This is not what happened. And I think maybe that was the situation. That's what happened. However, it goes back to how he comes off, because even that IG post didn't make him look good. And it's like, I understand, you know, he's the type of person that he's going to defend himself. And I 100% support that. It's just a matter of timing, or, you know, like I said, how you deliver it. And that's what has been making him look bad in this whole situation. It's, you know, like I said, I think there's a lot of points that he makes that are good points. It's just, it doesn't come off good. And also it's because he has this reputation of who he is. A lot of people, no matter what he does, a lot of people are not going to go on his side. A lot of people are not going to believe what he says because of that. And it's unfortunate, but that's just something that he has to deal with at this point of his career.
Yeah, he is who he is. He's a person that is going to speak up whenever he feels wronged, but it's like word vomit. He can't just say like, okay, I'm going to set this record straight. He has to say Colt Cabana got a bank account with his mama. Like what
Colt
did that have
caught
to do?
A stray for no reason with that.
Yo,
Colt
that
Cabana in the back just eats about, hey, you got a bank account with your mama. What the fuck did I do? I mean, I have to agree.
He called him Colty from 90 Day Fiance. He said you're Colty from 90 Day Fiance. You got a bank account with Debbie. Like, damn, man.
I mean, I gotta agree with Josh here, because I too am a very strong personality person when it comes to, if you're gonna lie on me or you're gonna tell a story, tell the truth. You know, the only thing I disagreed with that whole all out brawl out thing is like, you can't tell someone, say it to my face if that's how you feel. And then when they come to say it to your face, you're like, I mean, I get it. You're not going to get along with everyone that you work with. But at some point, this is professional wrestling. I grew up in the hood, and I do not condone what I'm about to say. But go outside and fight, get it out your system, come back inside, and let's make this money. Because you don't like him and he don't like you. The only person I give you a pass with is Colt Cabana, because y'all got real life beef. Y'all were besties from the testes, and whatever happened. So I understand that. There's two people in this whole world that I'd be like, listen, no matter what you do, we always gonna shoot the fair one. So I don't know what to tell you. And that's just what it is with Colt Cabana and Phil Brooks. I just feel like at the end of the day, this whole thing with the elite and the young buck, you're gonna let some dirt sheets, according to y'all, come in between you and some money. Come on now. You that mad? Let's go outside and shoot fight. Come on, call it a day. But we coming back in here. I sound like Vince McMahon.
No. You speaking the truth right now, because it really everything, and this is a thing that I keep stressing with everything. All we can do with what happened with the brawl, what happened backstage, everything is make assumptions. The person who has kept making this public information is CM Punk. And he is the same man that when he came back and he was still upset about what Hangman Adam Page said in a promo, a line that most people, that shit just went over our heads. We didn't even know that it was referring to Colt Cabana. But to CM Punk, he took that personally. He was like Michael Jordan, and I took that personally. And he let that fester for 2 months and then went out on TV and made that old public information. Then he did it again at the All Out media scrum. Then he did it again on IG, and when he said that to Hangman Page, what did he say? He was like, the apology needs to be as loud as the insult. So if you make all this information public information publicly, you need to take some accountability, because that is the one thing that I don't think CM Punk has still not done. And he wants to have these private meetings and everything. That's all fine and dandy. They could talk everything out. That's great. But publicly, CM Punk has to take some type of accountability for his part in all of this.
How are you going to take accountability when you're not wrong?
When you think you're not wrong. Yeah, that's true.
Well, I mean, but come on now. Like even if the Elite, the Elite are being quiet about everything. But even if they weren't, nobody feels like they're wrong in this situation. You feel me?
True.
Nobody feels like they're wrong. Punk feels like he was justified. The Elite feels like they were justified. And maybe there's a kernel of truth, but I still feel like I'm getting worked because I think that to a certain extent, even wrestlers have some sort of decorum where I'm not going to expose the business. We expose enough of the business to keep you interested. At this point, you're building towards a Punk return. Once he started tweeting and doing all right, I know it'll work when I see one. And even if it's not a work, I'd rather believe it's a work because I don't know this man. I wasn't there. For all we know, the Elite could have been putting shit in Phil's coffee. Phil could have been, cutting holes in Matt Jackson's boxes. We don't know what really happened backstage. So anytime it comes public like this and you're tweeting from CM Punk account or the Young Bucks account, I know this is clownery and I know it'll work when I see one. I go to a 9 to 5. I ain't gonna get worked by wrestling. Come on now.
Yeah.
Come on now.
I feel you.
And a part of it too is like, when we were hearing reports for months, right? They were saying like how the locker room didn't want CM Punk back, which is not 100% accurate because there's been numerous of wrestlers who've defended Punk. There's even some who said, hey, he didn't do anything wrong. And that's just how they feel. Yeah. And then, you have, I think recently Danhausen, he gave like this big story about Punk, like, because Danhausen had surgery. So Punk did something for him to cheer him up. He brought him like freaking a comic book that's like worth like thousands of dollars, and he gave Danhausen a gift for it, and he was like, "Oh, I know he doesn't want me to tell anybody. I know Pepsi Phil doesn't want me to tell anybody, but and he's telling him like he was saying like he's been one of the few people who's reached out every day to see how he's doing. So I mean, even when it came to that, like the whole like, oh, the locker room doesn't want him, that's also not accurate. I don't doubt that there's a division. I just don't know how big it is. I don't know if it's bigger than what that's being reported or the case may be, because at the end of the day, honestly, CM Punk is basically like he's the piece that they really need for them to get back to where they were at, no matter what, regardless of what people say, which is why I agree with that statement about like, hey, he brings them money, he's a draw, and it's true. You need that, especially now you have that big show and All In, coming out. Is like you need him more now than ever.
And not saying AEW is bad by any sense of the term, but again, I am not a Logan Paul fan in any stretch of the imagination. But it would be crazy for me to say that if you guys don't pick him up, that's a lot of money. Whether you want to see him get knocked out or you want to see him prevail, you're tuning in. And I think that it's a little silly at this point. There's tons of money to be made. And again, I get it. Not everyone you work with, you're going to like. But I don't got to talk to you. I don't have to do no programs with you. I could just keep on moving, cut my promos, and call it a day. And if you want to make some money, because everyone's going to want to see Punk versus the Elite, Punk versus Omega, Punk versus Matt, but Punk versus the damn dog, Larry at this point. I mean, we all want to see it. So, like, I get it. Because there are some people, I'm like, I can't do the job with you unless we actually have a shoot fight. I get it. I truly get it. But to walk away from that amount of money, silly. It's quite silly, love.
It is.
Yeah. And not only that, but some of the workers, when they hate each other, sometimes that does end up being some of the best programs on TV, and ends up being some of the best matches. Hey, remember how Becky and Charlotte they were having issues, and
Shawn Michaels,
they were killing it in the ring.
Charlotte Flair, Becky Lynch, The Rock and Triple H. Rock and Triple H hated each other for years, and they kept going against each other. And AEW, all you hear all the time in the locker room to some of the people that are positive about it, we're like a family. We're like a family. We're like a family. Sometimes Cresta's right. Sometimes you got to say, when you mad at your brother, go out there, and your dad says, go out there and fight each other. Go out there and fight.
I don't want to hear y'all arguing no more.
You gotta have Tony Khan gotta grow a set and be the dad of AEW and say, just fight. We're gonna close the door. Matt, Punk, Ace Steel. If you need backup, throw Ace Steel in there. Throw Larry the Dog.
can't
Kenny
do that.
Kenny Omega's gonna save the dog. Don't worry, Kenny Omega's there to save the dog because that's the only person innocent in this situation is Kenny Omega. He was out here saving dogs and he got bit by it. Not bit by the dog, but bit by Ace Steel. I will stand by that. But how they are thinking about solving this whole situation is with a soft split of the roster and discussing the whole situation regarding a soft split of the roster. Dave Meltzer in the Wrestling Observer newsletter has potentially revealed AEW's plans for Punk and the new Saturday show. Meltzer wrote in the newsletter, the working idea was that the Saturday show would star Punk and that they would split the rosters to a large degree. History does show that never lasted long, but it also means that it goes that with this Saturday show, it will go head to head with major sports almost every week, including UFC most weeks and UFC pay-per-view shows 12 to 13 times a year, college football all fall, almost every major boxing show, every major sport at one time or another, and WWE pay-per-view shows nearly every month since WWE is trying to move its major events from Sundays to Saturdays as much as possible. They are not sure if it's going to be on TBS or TNT, but if it's TNT, there will be a lot of sports preemption. And if it's a TBS, there will be some in terms of the show itself.
I thought I was muted. Sorry.
Perhaps surprisingly, AEW may look to provide a show similar in length and star power to that of their premiere broadcast, Dynamite. Meltzer said the original idea for the show was a 2-hour show that would have equal the star power of the Wednesday show. Of course, until it's announced, nothing is official. Then when this was like 2 years ago and they were introducing Rampage, I originally said that potentially they could go down that route because this is when AEW were signing everybody that had been let go by WWE, and I was like, maybe they would be better off if you split the rosters. You have one roster for Dynamite, one roster for Rampage, but now it sounds like this is something that they are at least thinking about and talking about with this Saturday show. Do you think that this is a sustainable plan to go by, to put like Punk on the Saturday show with say like Jericho, you know, he'll put all the black people on one show. Swerve Strickland,
Don't do
Keith
the
Lee,
Smackdown. Stop it.
and then you have Dynamite with like the Elite, BCC, MJF, Darby Allin, those type of guys. Do you think that this is a sustainable plan? And are you looking forward to some type of split of the roster down the line for AEW? Cresta?
No. You've got Elevation, you've got Dark, you've got Rampage. Consolidate those and just go head to head with SmackDown. Stop it. Get some help. Now you're going to add a 2-hour show on top of the 1-hour show you don't care about. Nobody watches Elevation. Nobody watches Dark. Come on now. Just make Rampage 2 hours. Do it live on Fridays and go head to head with SmackDown. I personally don't watch any sports besides RuPaul's Drag Race and professional wrestling. So that doesn't conflict with my Saturdays. But like, bro, you want to have 3 shows where only one is good, one varies in quality for an hour of power, and then a show on Saturday? Just go head to head with SmackDown. Dude, I believe in you. There's enough people. I hate to bring up tribalism, but there's enough people deep-throating AEW's meat that you will have a sustainable show on Friday. Just like there's enough people deep-throating WWE's meat that you have a sustainable show on Friday. I like you, AEW. I really do. But I hate to agree that you do put all the black people on Rampage. That's the only time I see Swerve Strickland, Keith Lee, and all your B players. Bro, dedicate the roster, do it on Fridays. I truly believe you can go head to head, especially with Vince McMahon shitting everywhere. Oh, stop it. I don't want another show. I love you, AEW. I truly do, but I do not want another show. I don't even watch Elevate. Stop it. Stop. You got a show for everything. We got AEW Untucked, Dark, Elevation, Dynamite, Ring of Honor. What are you doing?
AEW Uncut? Like it's BET Uncut?
Untucked, like RuPaul's Drag Race Untucked. That's what AEW backstage is. And we still getting work. The first episode, I'm like, why are we circle jerking? Why we hate Thunder Rosa? And I was like, you know what?
Yo, don't get me started on that. No, but I give it up. I watch AEW All Access now, and I will give it up to Tony Schiavone, my boy Tony Schiavone, out here telling Britt Baker, get over that shit. Get over that. Yo, when your number one fan, Tony Schiavone, telling you to get over shit, you know you on that. You talking about that shit even more than when the cameras is on. You probably talking about that shit.
I'll even have to say this too. If you still feel some type of way, you and Thunder Rosa go out at it. I like you, Britt, but I don't know if that's gonna go well for you. But like, go out back. Go out if that's how you feel. Go out back. Because at this point, sometimes it's like, bro, y'all really letting stupid shit like this come in between your feelings and or come into your bag, bro. Like, if you don't like this person, that's fine. Again, but like, you look crazy, love, and I want more for you, babes. Or just go outside and shoot the fair one. If the British accent comes out with shit, I can't be for real. Look at this mustache. So when I have to get super serious, I gotta get super unserious. Come on, love. Stop it. Go outside and fight, babes, and call it a day. Make your money, love. Because now you look crazy, babes. You look daft.
You sound like a Love Island episode. Josh, what do you think about this Saturday show and the potential split of the rosters? And how would you go about it with like a Punk being the lead for a Saturday show, maybe Dynamite being led by, MJF, the Elite, BCC? What do you think?
I don't know, man. It's I don't know, man. It's one of those things where I gotta wait and see because I can't, again, this would be a new situation for AEW to even tell what's gonna really happen. I don't feel I would say I don't feel confident with a Saturday spot because usually Saturdays are like up and down. There's maybe one night you'll do very well, and the next night you're gonna do complete shit when it comes to the rating. So I just don't know. It's kind of weird that they're doing this, and I guess like if this is their way of trying to like divide, like I guess locker rooms, whatever. I really don't see how it helps either way anyway, because when you do your pay-per-views, they all gotta be there. So it's not like it doesn't mean much. But yeah, it's just one of those things. And then even that, you're gonna have to figure out like when it comes to pay-per-views and stuff like that, because sometimes they do pay-per-view Saturdays and then they do it Sundays, so it's like, even though they don't got to worry about it as much because they only do it like every quarter, less than 6 pay-per-views a year. So yeah, it's just one of those things where it's like, I don't know if it's gonna help. I mean, whatever they plan, I just don't know if it's gonna help. Like like
yeah, I know it's gonna be a 2-hour show and they're gonna put the same amount of star power, but it's a tough ask, and it's not for what I think Belle was saying here in the chat. She said, okay, I have to ask, apart from pay-per-view nights, who stays home on a Saturday, especially in the summer, and watches TV? We're not in 2020 anymore. AEW, there's a lot of people that stay home on a Saturday. I have a family. I don't go out and party on a Saturday. I'm home. I go watch the show. And outside of the people that you usually see on screen, Cresta here, a lot of wrestling fans don't have social lives. I'm just letting you know that, Belle. I would say
you're exposing the business.
I would go as far as to say, I'm pulling back the curtain here, 75% of wrestling fans don't have a social life and will rather watch a wrestling show on a Saturday than go out. It's just the numbers. I'm just crunching the numbers here in my head. I think it's 75% of wrestling fans, and maybe it might be an even higher percentage of AEW fans that will just stay home.
Wow.
He's not. He's not exactly lying about that.
Go out after wrestling for 2 hours. Listen, I haven't been a young person since the 1770s, and you can literally go out at 11 o'clock. You do your makeup, do your pregame, watch your wrestling, and then go out. Because that's when the club is. You going to the club at 8 o'clock? You going to the bar at 8 o'clock?
Exactly. I'm from New York too. Even when I was partying, I could watch a 2-hour show from 8 to 10, and then take a shower, and then I'll get to the bar or the club by 11:30 because that's when they really get popping. Like, what are we talking about? 8 o'clock? Who the fuck is not home at 8 o'clock on a Saturday? Y'all don't really party if y'all.
That's
exactly.
not at home.
Exactly. You gotta be about 60 years old going out to party at 7 p.m. on a Saturday, so you get home at 11. Oh, I had a wonderful time. Oh, let me take out my dentures. Like, what are we doing? What are we even talking about here?
I'm gonna give you an anecdote because I thought of this. Like, you were talking about historically, rosters when they split, it doesn't work. Do you guys, anyone here ever watch Naruto?
Yeah, I'm familiar with Naruto. Yeah.
Okay, now I'm a professional Naruto hater, but there is a lesson to be learned here. When the third Hokage was like, we could keep the Uchiha and the Leaf Village separate, that did not work out. There's always a Donzo mother lover, and that Donzo mother lover is Dax Harwood, because Dax Harwood loves him some Phil Brooks, and he gonna try to make everyone work together. And if you say FTR isn't one of the best tag teams, you're a liar. So everyone's gonna want to work with FTR. That's exactly what's gonna happen. And much like Naruto, your third Hokage, Tony Khan, needs to learn some goddamn conflict resolution. Okay, it only got that bad because you were like, well, if they send a child soldier, what am I gonna do? The Uchiha, they're so strong. No, Tony Khan, you got this Vince mustache has made me delusional and crazy with power. But at the same time, it's like, bro, you doing all of this. Well, these people don't get along, and these people don't get. So I put Elevation, Dark, Dynamite, Ring of Honor. I'm not saying Vince McMahon had it right, but there was Wrestler's Court for a reason. There was a reason why we're like, yo, sometimes you just got to go outside and duke it out. You're in a very piss and vinegar situation with men and women. I'm going to fight you in the ring, but if I got trepidation, when you go to jump and pull a Samoa Joe and just like, why am I going to stand there and have you hurt yourself? You know what I mean? So I think that Saturday shows is just exacerbating the problem. If it's that deep, don't bring him back. If it is that deep that you are willing to separate your company, bruh. But if it's not that deep, make it HR. Who's your HR person? Can I be your HR person? No, it's not.
Well, remember, the HR person is the one that walked in the door before CM Punk swung on Matt.
Oh, yeah, that's true. No, I thought that was the legal. I thought it was the legal person who was with him.
I think she's like the HR legal person.
She's not getting paid enough.
CM Punk swung and asked question later. He was like, oh, my bad. You weren't the one who was giving information to Dave Meltzer. It was actually Chris Jericho. We got a super chat donation here from Professor Chris. Easy Attack. Thank you so much, good sir. We appreciate those. He says, I think a lot of wrestling media don't want him to come back. I'm not one of those people, but I think I know a few. Ha ha ha. I mean, if you're a wrestling media person, you want CM Punk to come back. He's always going to be in the news, whether it's good, bad, or indifferent. CM Punk equals wrestling news, which is always good for wrestling media. And I know if I'm anyone, I want to be in that press conference, in that room for the post-media scrum for whatever show, pay-per-view he comes back on, because that is going to be the most watched press conference in AEW history.
I just want everyone to get along. I want to watch good wrestling. I'm not like I joke about go outside and shoot the fair. Well, that's so y'all can get it out your system so we can get back to the jokes. I don't know. My damn mustache is coming on. I'm giving up the ghost. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm just gonna turn it upside down. I'm so sorry, y'all. Like I get it. You're not gonna get along with everyone, but at some point, I would like y'all to, because I don't know you from a can of paint. You got real life problems. You got real life issues. So like at this point, just do what you gotta do. Like just get along. Like this mustache.
No, you Anthony Davis. You went from Vince McMahon to Anthony Davis.
It's about to fall off again. Like this is my house. I have the AC on, and I sweat my mustache off.
Who's the kid from Hey Arnold, Josh, that used to have the unibrow?
Was it Helga Pataki?
Helga.
Yeah. You got the black Helga Pataki up here.
Oh,
Bro. And now my lip is sticky because I have all this stuff on my lip. The mustache isn't staying.
Yo.
I can't win today. I don't know how does Vince do it. Now I see why he shaves all the time.
He says mustaches and facial hair are the devil.
I see. I just like honestly, I just want to put my shit like.
We got a super chat donation from the Negro Buck Nick Jackson. Thank you so much, good sir. We always appreciate those. He says this is just so I could say fuck Danzo.
Honestly, listen. Again, a professional Naruto hater here, so take what I'm saying with a grain of salt. Why? You can't really blame Danzo. He was a murderous jerk from jump. You can blame the third Hokage. He was like, yeah, I'll take care of your son. Yeah, you saved the village for Hokage.
Yeah.
Here's some ramen, little motherfucker. Danzo, you want these people's eyes? You don't? But you're going to send a child soldier so you don't kill his brother, but I'm still going to try to kill...
This is how you know Cresta is a true hater, because she got all this information just to hate on her.
Just to hate. I stay
That's
on
dedication.
my job.
That's dedication to being a hater. That's hater. That's hateration to a 10th degree. She's gonna be the award winner at the Haters Ball just for that.
Bro, I will hate on non-real life characters. Like, it's okay to hate on Naruto. It's not okay to hate on Adam Cole, baby. He already got it rough, bro. Like, leave him alone. Naruto, absolutely. Danzo, this mustache, absolutely.
Oh, I love it. We got to step away from the CM Punk news and talk about one of the elite members. In fact, the elite of the elites, Kenny Omega, because his contract situation has been a hot topic in wrestling for the last couple of months. And in an interview with Fightful, I believe House of Wrestling, Nick Hausman, Conan spoke about why Kenny Omega was not part of the card for AAA Triple Mania 31 tomorrow in Monterrey. He said, well, originally we were gonna bring in Omega, but he was still negotiating with AEW and he wasn't sure if he was gonna stay or not, so we couldn't commit. He didn't want to commit to our show until he signed, so that was out the window. After that, we asked for a couple of people from AEW. They weren't available. And then we asked for another guy, and he was hurt. And so basically, who we ended up getting is Swerve, who I have no problem with because he may not have the name value of other people, but he's an incredible wrestler. I was with him in Lucha Underground. I'm assuming he re-signed. I never really asked him, but there are plans for him in the future, so I'm thinking he already signed. He wasn't sure if he was going to stay, and WWE was talking with him, so we couldn't get Omega to commit. In the latest Wrestling Observer Radio, though, it was noted that Omega has yet to sign a new deal with AEW and is still negotiating. Omega is still under contract, however, as hiatus due to injury at a time. Otherwise, the deal would have expired earlier this year. According to Dave Meltzer, Omega will be a free agent in November or December unless he agrees to a new deal. Now, to kind of bring in everything we've talked about so far on this show, do you think that the expected return of CM Punk will in any way affect Kenny Omega's decision to re-sign with AEW? And what does your gut say? Do you think that Omega will re-sign, or do you think Omega will go elsewhere? What do you say, Cresta?
I low-key want Omega to go back to New Japan. Low-key, very low-key. And I feel like this mustache ain't gonna work either. I feel like that I appreciate him trying to, I guess, put over younger talent, newer talent in AEW, but we only got the glimpse of the cleaner once. And this at one time was one of the best professional wrestlers in the world. If you want to take on more of a backstage role, cool. But I think that right now, AEW or New Japan, realistically, I think is the best place for him. That's just my opinion. I think WWE would not treat him right. And what's he going to do? Job to the tribal chief? Beef with Randy Orton? I let's be real here. I think that if Kenny Omega beefed with Roman Reigns, he would have to win. 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 And I'm a Roman stan, but I think Kenny Omega can out wrestle that man out his boots. And that's just my opinion. That is just my opinion. You know, and opinions are like assholes. Everyone's got one. And a lot of them are shitty. So like, what are you going to do? You're going to stay in AEW where, I don't know. I think it's up to him. I think AEW is probably the best place for him to put AEW on the map to set up future generations of competition for the Federation. But career-wise, I would go back to New Japan. I think it makes sense if he's going to stay in AEW. To me, that makes a lot of sense. But if I want to keep putting banger after banger after banger, I'm going to New Japan. I'm wrestling Ishii. I'm running it back on Will Ospreay. I'm doing that. But if I'm going to try to do something that means of note, setting it up for 10, 15 years from now, I'm saying in AEW. I don't see why would he go to WWE.
Yeah, I feel like his legacy is more attached to the fact that he's become such a big star without the WWE machine. Despite being in Deep South Wrestling and choosing to leave, he has become probably the most successful single competitor that has never stepped foot in a main roster WWE ring, and I think that's a lot of his legacy. So I do agree, if he is going to work out a new deal with AEW, yeah, I want to do like 2 months. Let me do a New Japan tour every couple of months. Let me do 2 New Japan tours. Let me do the G1 tour and let me do Sakura Genesis tour. Whatever it is he wants to do, let me do those 2 tours per year in New Japan, so everybody can see the difference between the cleaner Kenny Omega in New Japan to Battle Cry to Kenny Omega in AEW. What do you think, Josh? Do you think that Omega will re-sign with AEW, and do you think that CM Punk's return will have any factor on the negotiations with Omega?
I think he ends up re-signing. I don't think the Punk situation really matters, just because if he resigns with AEW, there's so much money involved for him that is like, you're gonna leave that all for yourself. Like, all right, cool, bro, go ahead. But I think it's one of those things where he's gonna, I think he ends up resigning because even with AEW, he benefits from a lot. He could still work with other companies. He could still, like you said, he could do the tours with New Japan. The only reason why I don't really see him going back to New Japan like full time, just because of, he is getting older. I know he likes to schedule more. I know he does like to schedule more, even though he still puts out bangers of matches. So, I don't think that would be so much of an issue. I just think like the schedule will be so much easier with AEW. And then also, like I said, if he resigns with AEW, there are so many factors a lot of people that really don't know or really look at. So, for example, like if he resigns right with AEW, like when he does like these public appearances, he gets paid almost double the amount when he does like these like these signings and stuff like that. He gets paid incredible money, and he didn't realize it until the first time when he was in the States. Remember that time when I think he wrestled upstate New York?
Yeah. Because I think we all went out there when he was.
Yeah. So when he wrestled upstate New York, and then he had the convention the next day, he made over $100K just in like his money alone. He made over $100K, and he didn't. People who were like representing him, they said that they're like, oh, he was like so surprised that he didn't realize how much money he could make off of these. And now, when he got booked the last time, he got paid double. He got paid over double of what he was making. If he was to go to WWE, it's just one of those things that, one, you have Vince back in charge. So that's already, that's already a damper in itself. And then 2, those outside things he will want to do, he's not going to be able to do, because regardless of what WWE says, oh, we were willing to work with everybody, they're full of shit at this point, because they haven't been willing to work with everybody. Even like, even like with the thing with Nakamura, right? They let Nakamura wrestle against the Great Muta, but yet they didn't push it, they didn't promote it. Micki James, when she showed up from Impact, they didn't promote nothing for Impact. Impact was doing all the promoting for WWE, They did absolutely nothing for Impact, and I don't even think that appearance did nothing for Impact. It showed like
AJ Styles even showed up on Impact, and they didn't promote that at all.
Yeah, yep, exactly. They didn't. So it's like it's one of those things where, where people are so like, hey, they're gonna do this or that. No, at this point, we gotta accept WWE is just gonna be in their own bubble. And I just don't know if that's what Kenny wants. Yeah, he'll get offered a nice contract, but anything else, I think, it wouldn't go by what he would want. That's how I feel when it comes to that. But we'll see. I think he ends up re-signing.
I agree with the both of you. I think he does end up re-signing. We got Victor Nash in the chat talking about all the potential matches that we still haven't seen with Omega in AEW. He says Omega should re-sign with AEW, Omega versus Adam Cole, which if we don't get it this time, I'm going to give up the hope because we should have got this like 7 years ago. Omega versus Punk, Omega versus Switchblade could all happen. Plus, he can compete in Forbidden Door every year. This is definitely true, and he's they're setting him up to have a big match at this year's Forbidden Door. And thank you, Bell, with the Euphoria reference here, saying fuck Nate Jacobs. I do agree. Fuck Nate Jacobs and Cassie as well. Yes, I definitely agree with you. Even though season 2 was kind of trash. Well, we got more AEW news to finish up here. The Wrestling Observer newsletter has an update on one of the matches scheduled for Double or Nothing, as it's going to be Swerve in Our Glory Collides, as AEW will present the first match between Keith Lee and Swerve Strickland. The pair have been feuding for some time. Now, after their team ended last year, the Wrestling Observer newsletter notes that the plan is to hold off and have the first match between the two at Double or Nothing next month. It was Keith Lee versus Chris Jericho on AEW Dynamite this week, and Swerve Strickland cost Keith Lee that matchup against Chris Jericho. Seemed to be setting up the road to Double or Nothing for these two to finally collide. And then finally, of course, like I said before, the major news from AEW was the return of Jeff Hardy, and Fightful Select had an update on Hardy following his return. According to the report, Hardy is still recovering from a recent surgery, and there are said to be alternate plans for him over the next few weeks that do not involve wrestling, which is a nice little segue into what happened on Rampage last night, which gave us more involving what we're going to see from Matt Hardy and Jeff Hardy after Jeff Hardy's return on AEW Dynamite this week. On Rampage, you had Aussie Open defeating Best Friends in a good matchup to retain the IWGP Tag Team Championships. Speaking of tag team titles, FTR, following their win of the AEW World Tag Team titles, they announced that they signed a 4-year deal with All Elite Wrestling and that they plan on retiring after their contract expires. Taya Valkyrie beat Emi Sakura in a very hard-hitting affair between those two ladies. Speaking of the Hardys, Matt Hardy made the challenge to the Firm for an 8-man tag team matchup at the Hardy compound entitled the Firm Deletion, which is going to be the Hardys teaming up with Hook, Isaiah Cassidy to verse the Firm's Ethan Page, Big Bill, Lee Moriarty, and Stokely Hathaway. Stokely Hathaway in the Hardy compound is going to be hilarious. I can't wait, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to be great. And he also had Jungle Boy Jack Perry defeating Shawn Spears in the main event, showing some respect to Shawn Spears afterwards, as he's picked up 2 wins now, evening the tally with Darby Allin and Sammy Guevara as we're on the road to the Battle of the Four Pillars at AEW Double or Nothing next month. What do you think about the Firm Deletion, Josh, coming up with the Hardys? Do you think that's going to be another match for Double or Nothing? And how excited are you to see Stokely at the Hardy compound? I'm ready for this, ladies and gentlemen.
I mean, it's interesting. We haven't seen this in a while, right? What was the last match he had? That was
I believe Full Gear 2020 when he versed Sammy in the compound. Because after that, he turned heel.
Yeah, so I mean, I look forward to it. I think they could, you have Stokely involved. He's gonna make it super entertaining. So I look forward to that completely.
Stokely Hathaway is always gold. Are you a Stokely Hathaway girl, Cresta?
The fact that we didn't get promos between Malcolm Bivens and Paul Heyman, moderated by Zelina Vega, is criminal. Criminal, I tell you. Can you imagine the promos between those three? Stokely Hathaway is a clown. There's a picture of me bald-headed with a mustache, and I look like a light-skinned Stokely Hathaway. He's my father.
We need this picture ASAP. We need this picture.
Hold on. I think I have it. So while you guys talk about wrestling, let me go ahead and DM SP3.
Yes. Send that to me. I will put it on screen for everybody to enjoy. Alan Bakey saying Stokely just got back to die again. Yes, he would probably die at the hands of King Maxwell. We also got Frantic World who says, I still laugh at Sammy Guevara and Matt Hardy match they had at Matt's house. And Negro Buck saying, I'm here for the firm deletion. Should be interesting. Even more excited since Stokely is going to be in this match. Yes, I would not be as excited for this match if he didn't say Stokely was going to be in it. Stokely being in it made me 1,000 more interested, and it makes sense with the report about Jeff Hardy.
Yeah,
with Jeff Hardy not doing too much wrestling, it makes sense for him to be in this kind of cinematic match, which will save him on the bumps and the crazy stunts. Even though he'll probably do a swanton off something high.
Where's Mark Quinn?
Mark Quinn is still injured, I believe. I think he's still.
I was what? Stokely Hathaway. I mean,
he's
on the other side, but what? Mark Quinn? Where's he at?
I was like, what happened to all the firm members? They had the Guns at one point. I guess the Guns just
deuces. To make the firm a thing, bro.
We got many men. We got 50 Cent many men. We out.
Oh my god. Nans went to Wale Mania one time. It hasn't been the same. If you can't handle Wale Mania, what you would have did with Freaknik?
Oh shit! Imagine them at Freaknik with Big Meech. Oh man,
they call me Big Meech. Larry Hoover.
Imagine that. Victor Nash saying if Jeff is still recovering, then they should replace Jeff with Mark Briscoe in that match. It's a cinematic match, Victor. Like they don't have to have
Briscoe in a cinematic match.
Yeah, I could definitely see Mark Briscoe in a Hardy compound type of match, but they have him teaming up with Jeff Jarrett and Jay Lethal and
Jeff Jarrett.
For some reason, yeah, that was the 8-man tag on the show. Hopefully, Mark Briscoe realizes he needs to get the hell away from those people and start winning some titles.
You can't out Riz Jeff Jarrett. Jeff Jarrett has been in every promotion and has gotten paid from every promotion. Probably even yours when you started. So you know what I mean?
Facts.
Jarrett's on his job.
With some news from AEW, the Wrestling Observer newsletter reports that 8 days after the announcement of AEW All-In London, 45,000 people have already signed for signed up for tickets for the pre-sale. The pre-sale happens on May 2nd, and based on how many are signed up currently, there is confidence it will be a success. 25,000 people signed up on the first day. By comparison, WWE also allowed signups for the Clash at the Castle pre-sale with 59,000 on the first day and 85,000 by the time tickets went on sale. And they originally only sold 30,000 tickets in the first 2 days, as there was some backlash on social media over the high ticket price, and WWE announced an eventual attendance of 62,296. PW Insider then reported on Friday that over 50,000 people have now signed up for the pre-sale for all AEW All-In, and while it remains to be seen if Wembley Stadium is filled, it is looking like it will at least be the largest crowd in AEW history, which was originally the first Grand Slam event at Arthur Ashe Stadium. So what is your base number you would go right now off of all that information and what we know about UK fans? What do you think All-In how many tickets they will sell by the time we get to August 27, Cresta?
How many seats can Wembley Stadium hold?
90,000.
Okay, so I'm gonna do some WWE numbers. I'm saying 140,000.
Yo,
Yeah, some WWE numbers. We gotta inflate those rookie numbers. 90,000 is the max capacity, so we got 188,000 in attendance. Rookie numbers, get the numbers up.
when it's impossible to have that many, like WWE always finds a way. I'm pretty sure Ford Field holds like 70,000 for WrestleMania 23. They said they sold 80,000 for that show.
Just be lying. Going to the Don Callis School of Facts. Just be making stuff up. I think, honestly, British wrestling fans are different. These guys are savages, and I think they'll sell out Wembley. I think they'll absolutely sell out Wembley. I also feel the same if they went to Mexico, you would sell out a Mexican arena as well, because non-American wrestling fans are just like, give me that! I need it! So I think they could sell it out. And if they don't sell it out, it'll be like, what, 89, 99, like 2 or 3 seats? Stop it.
Yeah, I think they have the potential to, because I'm not going to deny AEW anything. Like, the whole company is based on people saying that they couldn't sell the 10,000 seat arena with Cody and the Young Bucks before the first All-In. What is kind of your baseline do you think they'll get for All-In in London, Josh?
For Wembley, I'm gonna say between 60 to 70,000.
I think that's a success, even if it's not a complete sellout. 90,000, getting that's 3 times as much as they did for the first Grand Slam, which was 20,000, their highest that they ever did for an event. So getting 60,000, 70,000, that's still a success, especially with the stage. I don't think they're going to have 90,000 seats available.
I don't think 90,000 seats are going to be available. It's just a matter of what they do with the signups. You know, like if they get a lot of sales, I think from there they're going to open up sections. They're going to do stuff like that. It does help that it's in the UK, because like you said, you know, UK fans are different. At the same time, you know, even though what I know about UK fans, they're usually very WWE heavy when it comes to wrestling too. So it's just a matter of, for me, like if I'm in the UK and I'm like, this is their first AEW, this is their first show, right? Since it's existed. For me, it would have, you know, for me as a fan, that's usually what does it for me. Like, first time show, let me go to that one, because that's what I did for Double or Nothing when AEW announced the very first show. I went to that show, you know, and so there's a number of factors that's going to come down to it. I think between 60 to 70,000 is still a great number. You know, but of course, you know, you're going to have some of these fans, some of these reporters, Goodor, you know, he's going to try to play the factor of, oh, they couldn't sell our stadium. He'll find a way to downplay all this shit, even if they get 70,000. Oh, but it wasn't a sellout. All right.
Wrestling. Why you care?
Yeah,
how many arenas have you sold out?
Exactly. That would be my question. How many arenas you sold out? How many? You don't even have that many followers on Twitter. What are we talking about?
How many bingo halls you done sold out? How many people came to your meet and greet? You didn't even charge for it. How many people? Stop it. Listen, I am a jabroni who talks about wrestling. We're all jabronis who talk about wrestling. But when you start doing that, well, they're not even that good at it. Well, hey, what have you booked? What wrestling promotion you've read? And for people who want to say real quick, well, what about Jim Cornette? Bro, the sun has set on that man. We talk about 50, 60 years ago when this man was like, nigga! Oh, come on now. Yeah, like we still taking advice from these people who are out of touch.
Yeah, but not only that, and not only that, but you know, people like that in the position where, you know, they're doing wrestling commentary, where you technically have, you know, you have to do your best to be not as biased. Some of them tend to go the opposite. They tend to go the opposite and makes them look even worse, because it's like, whatever you're reporting is not going to look good.
Exactly. Or just like that's always been my shtick. I'm gonna peel back the Cresta curtain a little bit. I like wrestling and I just react to it as a fan. And when people thought that I was dead ass and I thought it was real, I ran with it. I ran with it. Why not? It's wrestling. No one, this is the only medium where people expect journalists to not be a part of the show, which I think, how can you do journalism on pre-scripted fighting? Like, this is coming from someone who does it. You know what I mean? If you want to be taken seriously, you have to be unbiased. And it's hard to be unbiased when your sources are biased. And if you're going to just react as a fan. There are other content creators who will do this. Like, I feel like this is a good medium. We're joking is yuck, but you know it's yuck. Some people really out here sweating, foaming at the mouth. Well, this isn't believable. It's wrestling. What about wrestling is believable? Omar's got F5'd out his boots by Brock Lesnar. What's believable about that? Nothing is believable. So stop it. Have a good time and just say, you know what, this is bad. But also help yourself. You can't do what a wrestler does. Let me see your Northern Light suplex. Let me see you do a power, swanton. Oh, you can't? Shut up.
You know who can, though? Cresta Hathaway can. She looked like either Stokely. She looked like a mix of Stokely meets Ernest the Cat Miller.
Sky is my brother. I'm perpetuating all the lies out here. You can see big Scorpio Sky. Reach for the sky. That's Mark Briscoe. Sorry, reach for the sky.
Reach for the sky.
Stokely Hathaway, you gonna lie and tell people that I'm not your daughter? Wow, Dad.
You better pay some child support out here in these streets.
Wow, Dad.
What are we doing? I'm just gonna keep this on screen for the rest of the show, probably. Let
me just turn off my camera and keep that down in the box.
I'm legitimate.
Devil. That filter was the damn devil.
She really did that. She really did that, ladies and gentlemen. But in other AEW news, they got good news with another re-signing this week, as Brian Cage has reportedly set to stay with All Elite Wrestling and Ring of Honor, signing a new deal there. Cage appeared on this week's Dynamite and last week's Rampage. Fightful Select reported this week that the ROH six-man tag team champion has signed a long-term, multi-year contract to remain with the companies. According to the outlet, AEW pushed hard to get the deal done within the last couple of weeks, and it ended up being agreed to in principle before Cage aligned with Swerve Strickland. Cage is now part of the Mogul Embassy in ROH and AEW, and it had been reported that he effectively became a free agent after ROH Supercard of Honor. Of course, Tony Khan has said that he was hoping to keep Cage and the Embassy on board for a long time, and the report notes that several top talents pushed for Cage to re-sign with AEW, and that WWE had interest in him as well, but he ended up liking what AEW offered. Cage worked with an agent throughout the whole process. Josh, do you think to say net positive for Brian Cage staying in AEW?
I honestly think it was probably the best choice for him to stay in AEW, because if someone like Cage going to WWE, while it looks good on paper, Brian Cage doesn't have the strongest promos. He doesn't have. He's not a great talker. Usually, it's a place that like WWE, when you don't have that, you tend to get pushed in the back burner. So, at least with AEW, they care about more of the performance. They care more about that. So it benefits him more. But then also, just doing other outside stuff. I am surprised that he's staying, because it looked after a while that he was just going to end up leaving after his deal's finished. But I mean, honestly, this was probably the best case scenario, because it was like, it was either this or you're going to go back to Impact. I don't know.
He actually get used in Impact.
Yeah. He will get used in Impact.
He's a former Impact World Champion. So.
He'll get used in Impact. It's just one of those things where it's like, when you already been there, done that, you got nothing else to accomplish in Impact. It's like, where else can you go to, So I think now, I think he's in a good spot. I think it's the right thing.
Just tell your wife not to complain about you.
You know, it's funny. I did say that on Wednesday. I was like, TK probably said, "Oh, just don't bring Melissa."
I mean, I'm Team Melissa on this one. I've always been Team Melissa, Team Rebby Hardy. I know people don't like these two, but stand by your man. I respect it.
Yeah, I was fine. Yeah, I was fine with it. I'm fine with Melissa. I thought what she did, you know, it wasn't necessarily the worst thing. I mean, we've seen worse. It just happens. That's what I see.
I'm like, to advocate for her husband to be used on TV, no matter what promotion he's in, and I respect it. I would do the same thing for my husband. You're world champion. You're my husband, of course. Listen, my husband could be Stokely Hathaway, and I'm still gonna be like, he should be world champion. Heck of John Moxley.
Oh, you're telling us this is your husband, then?
You know, if Dennis Rodman can marry himself, why wouldn't I marry myself? I'm a bad bitch. I enjoy wrestling. And honestly, look at the material. Come on now. I would hold that person's hand.
This is going to be the running bit. I'm going to try multiple ways to put that back up on this.
You cannot make me feel bad about that. I think that's funny. I have so many memes of just myself with embarrassing photos. Oh, I got you. I'm going to just spam you. I got a meme folder.
Got memes for days. We love a good meme on this channel. The other news with AEW, another person that seems to be siding with the company during the latest episode of What Happened When podcast, AEW broadcaster and backstage personnel Tony Schiavone stated that 18-year-old wrestler Billy Starks has signed with All Elite Wrestling. Starks recently competed at AEW Battle of the Belts over last weekend, challenging TBS champion Jade Cargill in a losing effort. She also competed on multiple editions of AEW Dark earlier this year, as well as ROH TV earlier this year. Starks said she was enjoying her free agency and her immediate plans was to finish high school, as she is slated to graduate in May. AEW has not yet officially announced Starks signing or released a Billy Starks' All Elite graphic to announce the news. Fightful notes that several talents were checking out her AEW Battle of the Belts TBS title match against Jade Cargill when she worked Black Label Pro last week. And Fightful also noted that they have not heard back yet from Starks on if the signing news is accurate. And then on the other end of the spectrum, another soon-to-be 18-year-old Nick Wayne will make his AEW debut this summer in a match against Swerve Strickland, according to Strickland at last Saturday's Defy Wrestling. Wayne defeated Swerve for the Defy Wrestling Championship, Strickland losing it to the 17-year-old. And after the match, Strickland called for a rematch on AEW Dynamite on July 12th, which Wayne accepted. Wayne signed with AEW via an apprenticeship deal in February of last year at the age of 16, though the contract doesn't go into full effect until he turns 18 on July 11th. Thus, his debut will be on the July 12th episode of AEW Dynamite. And then finally, probably one of the bigger news that kind of got brushed under the rug this week, as in regards to AEW, it's in regards to Santana. Santana is apparently still All Elite for now. Santana, of course, the former member of LAX. Fightful Select had an update on his MIA status. He hasn't appeared in AEW since the Blood and Guts match that took place on June 29, 2022 edition of AEW Dynamite. According to Fightful's report, Santana is still with the company at this moment. Santana reportedly had a falling out with his longtime tag team partner Ortiz and was already teaming with him on a less frequent basis when he suffered an ACL injury in the Blood and Guts match. Before that, Fightful Select notes that Santana had been counting down the days until his AEW contract expired. According to the report, the former LAX member is still under contract with All Elite Wrestling, and he was reportedly paid until he was out of action with his injury. However, the report notes that the time of the expiration of Santana's contract was never clarified. A source familiar with AEW contracts noted that if Santana's contract ended in September 2022, as he previously hinted on his social media, AEW might attempt to keep him under contract longer for about 2 more months, as that was about the amount of time he would have had left when he was injured in late June 2022. And additionally, the sources Fightful Select spoke to said that Tony Khan is adamant about paying talent while they are on the injury shelf, including well after their contract would have originally expired. The report notes that AEW paid for over half of a year that Santana could have been off the books for the company. So, I mean, that's commendable by AEW, just giving money to someone who would have been out of contract. But do you guys think that that Santana will stick with AEW? He might change his mind after that showing of goodwill from Tony Khan. What do you think, Cresta?
Damn, we really could have had an LAX versus FTR.
Well, we did. We got it before the injury in 2021, but we didn't really get it.
We could have had LAX versus the Bucks. We could have had LAX versus so many people. We never
got that Santana and Ortiz versus Lucha Bros in AEW.
Oh, bro.
That was one of my favorite Impact rivalries, though.
Which is crazy to me because it's like with all of the tag teams that y'all have there that are so good, I don't understand why we didn't have that. And I think that's the only thing I will really give shit on AEW for. You guys really killed LAX. And that's crazy. There should have been an LAX Lucha Brothers. Like the House of Black, not House of Black, Death Triangle, really, that whole best of 7 should have been the Lucha Bros versus LAX. You could have brought in Conan. There were so many things you could have did. I think it's criminal what happened to these two. That being said, I think that him staying in AEW, I'm always like, you can get the band back together. Hopefully they could work out the differences. But much like CM Punk and Cole Cabana, if it's real life, real issues, you can't yeah, that's different. But I always thought it was criminal how LAX played backfield. Like I don't even think we got like really LAX versus the Bucks.
Well, we got it at Full Gear 2019. That was like their first feud when they came in. But like, yeah, I would have took it more often than we got it. They only faced twice in AEW.
Yeah,
I'm not agree with Nicky Boy Bebop. It's a crime that I guess that's why I say we didn't really get it because like they should have won the tag titles before you signed FTR, before all of these people were there. Yes. This should have been happened. Oh, not my mustache going crooked.
Yeah. And then also with the situation between Santana and Ortiz, it's pretty minor in comparison because it's more of what was going. The rift between them was that Santana basically, he feels like they should be in the bigger spot, right away. Ortiz is more the person like, he's very laid back. He's waiting for, he's very patient when it comes to his time, when they get there. That's basically been the riff. It's just, Santana wants more. Ortiz is okay with waiting. That's been the conflict between them. As for Santana staying, I think him staying will benefit him more because his stock did drop. When you get injured, especially when you're that close to free agency, I think his stock dropped. So I think him staying, even if it's for a year or whatever they decide to keep him for, I think it will be best for him if he decides to still leave, or they could reconcile and they could reform LAX, which I think will be the best option for both of them. Yep.
Agreed.
I agree with that as well. Let's finally end the AEW portion of the show. There was a lot of news to unwrap, but let us know in the live chat, in the comments, what you thought about everything with Punk, with the Elite, and everything else with Santana still being all Elite. Let us know in the comments, but we got to move on into some WWE. Last night, they had WWE Smackdown, and the show featured Paul Heyman announcing that the Usos, Jay and Jimmy, will invoke their rematch clause against Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn for the undisputed WWE Tag Team Championships in 2 weeks' time on the April 28th edition of SmackDown. You also had the WWE announce that same show will be the WWE Draft. They will start in 2 weeks on SmackDown on Fox, and they will continue it on Monday Night Raw the following week. In the main event, you had the Bloodline Solo Sikoa defeat Matt Riddle in the main event. Yes, Matt Riddle losing already after his comeback. Post-match, Sikoa hit the spinning solo on Riddle on the commentary table and then flipped the table on top of Riddle. You also had Shinsuke Nakamura made his in-ring return, defeating Madcap Moss, with Madcap hitting the worst fall-away slam I've ever seen in the history of professional wrestling and in life. But post-match, Karrion Kross and Scarlett set their intentions to target Nakamura with a tarot card reading. Man, I was like, Nakamura, it looked good for a minute there. Now you got a feud with Karrion Kross. Okay. Damien Priest beat Santos Escobar in a very good matchup. Post-match, Priest went to drive Escobar through the commentary table, but Rey Mysterio made the save. The crowd was very much into LWO in Nebraska. It's very surprising there. Xavier Woods defeated LA Knight in a fun opener. Post-match, Woods interrupted the Imperium at having a meeting and staked his claim for a shot at Gunther's IC title. They will face next week on SmackDown. So a lot of big matches set up for SmackDown this week. I will ask Josh this one. Do you think that they need to do something new to get the heat behind the Bloodline storyline? Because I know people are like, oh, this is a new chapter. It feels like we ended the book at WrestleMania, and then they just put like duct tape and made more pages into the book after the fact, and it just doesn't. It feels like very much microwave booking, and this is something that I think Tony Khan does a lot, and now Triple H is doing a lot, where he puts stuff that's been in the freezer for about 3-4 days. He warms it up for 20 seconds and then wants to eat it. And that's not how things work.
Surprise when the middle's cold.
No, honestly, yeah, that's actually that's a great take, because it feels like it's fell flat, and I think part of it too is just my opinion. Them losing the titles and then all of a sudden they're winning singles matches. It's kind of like what are we doing here? They dropped the titles. What's the point of them all of a sudden being kind of dominant again, because they've been winning all their matches? That hasn't helped, in my opinion. They're just in the situation. I think they're just trying to figure out, what do we do next? Because Triple H did say, hey, we're just in the third inning. I'm like, bro, it seems like you guys are just ready to finish the game, because that's how it comes off. But they definitely need to do something, because even the title match, it was announced. I thought that would be a Backlash. I guess it's not. That's weird timing for me. I guess they really want this draft to have a big rating, which I get. But it does feel like something is missing completely right now.
Yeah, I'm hoping they can figure this out, but it just doesn't feel as hot as it once did. And they got time to heat it up again, but it feels like I wouldn't be surprised if the Usos just won back the tag team titles at this point, especially with what we're going to talk about with Saudi Arabia coming up and the fact that Sami can't travel there. Maybe they want to get the tag team titles on that show, and this seems like a perfect place for them to put the titles back on the Usos, which I feel would be a regression of this whole story.
Agreed.
Yeah, it would be complete. It would be a complete regression, because it just wouldn't even. It was like, what was the point of all this? Agreed. You just had a great build up. You had a great match, and then you have this is the shit you come up with after. I hope that doesn't happen. But again, they necessarily, in my opinion, don't need a tag team title match in that show anyway.
Agreed.
That's just my opinion. But we'll see. We'll see what happens.
What do you think, Cresta?
The problem I'm having with the bloodline is that at one point it seemed rudderless and then it got too good for its own good. Having both belts on Roman is tough. Having both belts on the Usos, not as tough, because let's be real here, WWE don't take none of their tag teams seriously. Sorry about it. I don't make the rules. I just have the Vince mustache. I don't make the rules. But it's like having both the titles on Roman is tough because he should have lost one to Sammy. He should have been lost one to Kevin. He should have lost one to Cody. And now you're in this catch-22 of, do you say that, well, Roman's going to wrestle and you're going to challenge for the Universal and then you're going to challenge for the WWE? You're in a catch-22. A belt should have gone to Sammy. And I think that was the biggest problem. You got the tag team titles as a consolation prize, but a belt should have gone to Sammy after everything he went through. Even if you're like, okay, Cody is just a red herring from main event Jey Uso, I understand that. But having both belts on Roman is the bigger issue. To play hot potato with the tag team titles, I think it sucks that both shows are suffering for this. But let's be real here. Again, does WWE care about their tag teams?
Nope. Not really.
Unless your name is New Day or Usos, and even then, y'all playing hot potato between each other. Like, you don't care. So you've got people like Gunther in your mid-card division. Why? That man is 8 feet tall and 9,000 pounds, and you got him beating up Ricochet. Stop it. Like, I may not be an Xavier Woods fan, but to say that Xavier Woods ain't gonna get the black slapped off of him for that title, stop it. Stop it. Gunther should be in your main event scene, but you can't realistically have Gunther lose to Roman 2 belts because he's going to hit us with the same rope-a-dope of having every Uso. There's always another Us, even if you take out Solo and the twins. Jason Fatu is out there. There's always another Us. There's always another Us, bro. So the bigger issue here is that Roman holds both of those titles. The tag team titles, I want to care, but let's be real here. This is WWE, you don't care about your tag teams. But Roman holding both of those titles, you cuck so many storylines just by that alone. And you don't want to get it off him, which I respect. I think he deserves this. But at the same time, you're ruining a whole nother show and other people who may be up and coming because I can't take anything you do seriously now. I don't believe in the booking. I don't. I just think Roman's going to win all the time.
And the last time before WrestleMania that I thought Roman would lose the title was the perfect opportunity to take the title off of him, and that was Clash at the Castle. Because you had Austin Theory, this idiot who you planned on giving him an idiot cash in anyway. The idiot cash in thing to do was Austin Theory cash in on one title and not both titles because he's like, well, one is I can get one. I don't know if I can get both.
Yes.
I'll try to get one, and then you just have Drew kick his head off, and then Drew wins one of the titles, and then you can separate the titles. And ever since then, I feel
would have been
like
free too. That would have been free. That would have been free. You're right. That would have been fucking free.
And ever since then, I feel like Triple H has been struggling with the fact that Roman has both of these titles. And now you're at the point where you can't just take one of the titles off Roman because then that dilutes the whole thing. Like I had that question on Smack Talk last night. Rick asks, will the draft be Triple H's way to introduce another title? I was like, so we're going to introduce a third world championship? He was like, no, he would just consolidate both titles and give Roman one title and then introduce another title. I was like, no, that's already been done. Like, no,
that's
you
literally the Universal.
You have to keep both titles on Roman now. They've booked themselves into a goddamn corner. That's what they've done.
That'll be even worse. Giving a third that would be even worse, in my opinion. That would be worse because it's like, the whole reason for the Universal title was to get a secondary title, and now you're gonna put a third one. So now we're getting a third title?
Osmosis titles. They just absorb one another.
Yeah, so it's like, they definitely did book, which we've been saying this for the longest when it comes to Roman. Like, he shouldn't have had both titles because they booked themselves into not only to a corner, but then, this is when Roman decided to have like a part-time schedule. So he's not even there every week. He's not even wrestling every week. Even though I think there's pros and cons to that. I think the pro to that is it gives it more of a prize fight feel. Like it's not being shown constantly every week. He's not having a match every week to defend the title. So it means something that, when he has a match, it's on the it's on the matter. It's a situation where it feels like it matters. And obviously the con is that he's not there every week. But at the same time, it's just this is something that we haven't seen in decades, like I was talking about, like his title reign. But it's just one of those things where they got to figure out, it's like, when you think it's going to happen, the split is going to happen. It just hasn't happened yet.
Yeah, something's got to give. It makes a lot of people look kind of silly, if I'm being honest with you. You've sacrificed Drew, Karrion, Nakamura, Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, Jey Uso, Cody Rhodes. These are top names that realistically, I like what you said about Clash of the Castle. You literally had a get out of jail free card with Austin Theory. You literally had that, and you did it. And even if you were trying to fix Vince's mistake, I think it's a great historic run. But stop giving people hope. Stop building up these other stars, because at the end, you kind of look rubbish when you just get jumped by the Usos.
Exactly. You just look like everybody else that's just been chumped out throughout this whole run. But going back to that person who I said it should have been the guy that probably should have won one of those titles, Drew McIntyre is in a strange place now. Drew McIntyre has raised some eyebrows on Twitter, blacking out his profile and posting a curious message Friday night. The WWE star replaced his Twitter profile picture with an all-black image and removing a references to WWE from his profile information. It is important to note that McIntyre's Twitter account is still DMcIntyre WWE, and his Twitter account has not been changed. It was reported earlier this month that McIntyre's WWE contract is up in the next year, and that McIntyre was going to wait until closer to the expiration date to sign anything, as there are multiple factors for him to consider. There was also the report that he was frustrated with the amount of money he was making and his creative. As of now, it is not clear as to the motivation for McIntyre changing up his Twitter profile and whether it's for storyline or real life purpose. Cresta, what do you think about this whole Drew McIntyre situation? I mean, he's someone that I've always thought is like a company guy. Anytime there's a WWE interview out there, it's usually Drew McIntyre behind it. Do you think there's a possibility he might think about testing the waters outside of the company like he did all those years ago?
Nah, he getting his money. He in his bag. I respect it. Hustle, Vince McMahon. Hustle them all. Get your money, honey. And honestly, too, there are two things this year alone that would give me cause for pause if I'm in WWE. The way you treated Cody Rhodes, who jumped shit from AEW, and how you're booking the Bloodline and Bray Wyatt. So 3 things, actually. My complaint is, if I am Drew, I've been in WWE, but y'all didn't even give the new hot guy who everyone's been thirsting for and Cody Rhodes the title. Okay, I've already been beat by Roman. Okay, Bray Wyatt, someone who y'all fired at the peak. Well, not the height, because he was still hot. But and then you brought him back, and now it's creative differences again, this, that, and the third. So now I'm looking side-eye. And also, too, look at how you're booking the Bloodline now. Now, like you said, it seems kind of rudderless. You had all these great champions further the story or someone to further the thing, but that's not what you're doing. So I am going to wait. Do I think Drew goes to AEW to get lost in the shuffle? I don't think. But I could see Drew doing a New Japan stint. I could see him, maybe even if he truly wanted to, you can go to Impact. Truly wanted to. But I don't think Impact is going to pay Drew. If you far apart on money, Impact going to turn his pockets inside, like, what do you want? Come on now, dog. I don't got it, okay?
We got lit in our pocket. What were you talking about, man?
Yo, somebody said that Impact paid their wrestlers and welfare checks, and I wanted to fist fight them. That's not true. Because every time people make fun of Impact, just know that all your favorite promos, your favorite wrestlers, and your favorite gimmicks come from Impact. Every other company steals from Impact. Like, oh, look at those homeless people. You stole that. Impact is the Africa of wrestling. You take everything from Impact. You took AJ Styles. You took Samoa Joe. You took Booker T.
Hey, Drew, this whole Drew character really, that was the first time I really saw it, was in Impact when he was Drew Galloway.
Y'all taking everything from it. Booker T signs on Petey Williams. Petey Williams, he's Batman, Booker T. Like, all of your favorite things come from Impact, but yet unanimously we all say, you know what? Jeff Jarrett is the reason why Impact sucks. Or Hulk Hogan's like, no!
It used to be good, y'all. Don't worry. It used to be good at one point. At one point or another, it was
I
good.
think it's good now, and that's not just because I get paid to watch it. I think it's good now. But I was talking to someone else who's like a big wrestling fan too. Is like, his thing is like, I expect Impact to be yucks, and the fact that y'all want to be serious now, the sun has set on that. Nobody take you seriously. I'm like, I'll take them seriously. What the fuck? So yeah, I don't know what's gonna happen with Drew. I think WWE is going to be the best place for him, but at the same time, the best place is catering.
I mean, yeah. Steven Chambers saying Drew could move to Raw at the draft. I really don't see Drew leaving WWE. I don't see it either, but I don't think him going to Raw is the solution, because all these guys who are top level guys in Raw are just like, what world title we gotta fight for? We don't even got a world title here.
And you want to fight Gunther, who's gonna slap your nipple off?
He already did that. He gave him bruised titties at WrestleMania.
You making everyone's chest look like raw meat. Like, come on now.
Well, we got to talk about somebody who is all about the raw meat. Vince McMahon he was not backstage at last Friday's SmackDown, nor at this past Monday's episode of Raw, nor last night. He wasn't backstage for SmackDown.
Same mustache.
Same thing. Caught her slipping. However, the Wrestling Observer newsletter reported that McMahon was still involved in creative. According to the Wrestling Observer newsletter, McMahon was part of the meeting, working remotely. A few things were changed for the shows, but it was similar to how TV has been for most of the year outside of the Raw after WrestleMania when he sat backstage. The changes to Monday's episode of Raw were more due to the travel issues than anything else. McMahon is in charge of WWE once again, while he will mostly let the creative team do what they're doing. If he wants something change, it will be changed. There has been minor changes, including the way promos are worded, and Vince McMahon's new contract with WWE was signed late last month and binds him to the company's code of conduct. THR reports as part of a feature on the WWE sale with Endeavor that McMahon signed a new contract with WWE on March 29th, and they have viewed a copy of the contract where it includes a requirement to comply with the code of conduct. According to the copy THR viewed, McMahon's continued employment shall be conditioned on compliance with the company's conflict of interest and code of conduct and WWE's equal opportunity and non-harassment policy. The new contract comes as WWE agreed to sell its controlling interest to Endeavor and will be merged with the UFC into a new publicly traded company. Fightful Select provided report on WWE and their supposed frozen hiring process. WWE has not been actively hiring talent since last year, which saw the company pick up over a dozen with Triple H in control. Since Vince McMahon returned in December, there have been no publicly announced main roster hires. Some sources have said there had been a hiring freeze, and this might be because of McMahon's return or the sale that recently took place. No one has been told there was a hiring freeze, but sources did use those words specifically. WWE had been interested in several wrestlers before this, including Tama Tonga, Brian Cage, Jay White, and the Authors of Pain. The LP were in talks last year before McMahon's return, and Cage had several people backstage pushing for him. Triple H was also interested in Nick Aldis, but he was one of several not brought in. McMahon returned to the company and all hires were put on hold. In regard to Jay White, who was signed by AEW last week, WWE sources noted a communication error on their part led to him going elsewhere, and several wrestlers have said they were contracted by WWE this year, although again, no one has been hired. They were told because of the impending sale, it was hard to make it happen. Some talent that were signed in 2022 have yet to be used, and others have not been contracted or not been contacted since WWE showed interest. The exit of James Kimball was the reason for some of them, but not all, as the decision would have been over his head. According to the Wrestling Observer newsletter, there is no hiring freeze, and WWE is operating as it always does. And it was noted that WWE is business as usual and is in talks with new significant performers. I would start with you, Josh. What do you think about all this stuff with Vince McMahon controlling creative remotely? Is that better than him being backstage, or not even better by much? And what do you think about the whole firing freeze rumor and the whole situation regarding that?
I think it's a little bit better. Oh my god.
I forgot I had the solo screen on that. Oh god. Oh, funny.
I wasn't catching me slipping this time.
Yeah. So in regards to the him being remotely, I think it's a little bit better because I think it's always different when you're there in person in comparison to on a screen. It does help somewhat, but you know, I don't think it's gonna help much down the line when it comes to whatever he decides to change. When it comes to the rumored freeze, usually that's what happens when a company is up for sale or anything. So that aspect is not really surprising. It happens all the time. You know, it's just a matter of what you keep with assets and stuff like that. But besides that, I mean, you know, well, when it comes down to everything, I just do. When it comes to like signing new people, signing new wrestlers, I do feel that's going to come to a factor. That Vince McMahon being back in charge, I think is going to play a big factor into a lot of them. I don't know how much, but even the aspect of what they offer, I just don't think it's going to be the amount that they used to offer because they're going to be under another company. The companies are going to have a certain budget, so I don't think it's going to be as big as people think.
Yeah, that's probably true for sure. Cresta, what do you think about the whole hiring freeze? And do you think that WWE will start hiring some of these major names that they've been interested in for the last couple of months?
Can you hire some of these major names that you've been interested in a month? I'm almost about to fall off. I don't want to get embarrassed. If I'm being honest with you, I think that some of these names might have signed, but now with Vince back in charge, these were some people that have purposely stayed away because I know how you're going to use me. I know how you're going to end up. I'm never going to win a championship. Like, I think of Jay White, for example. Jay White has all the markings of a young Shawn Michaels. He's so talented. This young man is a world champion 1 million times over. This he's so small. He's so small. Him beating Brock Lesnar is not believable. That's stupid. Nick Aldis, he's old as shit. Like, these are things that people will say that I think has no bearing on their wrestling ability. But these are the people like, I'm not going back to there because I'll maybe get a push and I'll be running for the 24/7 title by the end of the year. That was my biggest fear with them signing Cody Rhodes. I was like, listen, I think that the way AEW fans, as an AEW fan myself, you can't bully someone into being heel. I see you. You're not nice girls. That being said, I'm not going to jump shit where thinking the grass is greener. Yeah, he ripped his pectoral right off the bone. But for you to still get to the pinnacle and be like, yo, stop it. We didn't forget that you made AEW. The fuck you thought this was? Why would I go there? If I'm someone like a Switchblade or a Nick Aldis, why would I do that? Why would I go somewhere where I know you'll get me to the top of the mountain and be like, you didn't start WWE. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. And it kind of sucks that it all stems from one person. And now I'm not saying Triple H's booking was perfect because there are a lot of things where I'm like, what the hell were you doing with Damage Control? Why'd you bring me back, Flav? That being said, though, it was still better than a lot of the other things that we had. So can you sign those people? You can be interested in them, but can you sign those people? Even if I was Brian Cage, I'm the look, I'm everything. But like you said, I know I can't really cut that good of a promo. I'm not doing that. Even MJF. I love MJF. I do. But bro, you would you go to WWE?
They would water him down so
You
quick.
would be Mrs. Sidekick in a heartbeat. Stop it. Stop it. You and I both know that this bitter war in 2024, you're not beating Roman. They will put you on a 10-year contract for you to job Roman every month. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Just like how some people can't go to AEW, not everyone can go to WWE. Not that they would want to. Like, if I'm Jay White, I'm not going to WWE. I see how you treat the other Bullet Club members. The OC? When's the last time you seen Gallows and Anderson on TV?
Hey, they happy though. I know Gallows and Henderson. I know they happy to sit at home and still get a paycheck. They like, we living the sweet life. We don't gotta take no bumps.
I respect it, but some people, listen, I got bad knees and a bad back. Some people like to wrestle though. Yes. And if I'm here to wrestle, I don't want to be in catering like this. Benny Hanna's good as fuck, bro. Like,
oh, I just wanted to respond to this. That was more so Okada than JY at that time.
I mean, either way,
that's his claim. That's what he says in his promo, that he single-handedly sold.
Yeah, it's funny though.
United States.
Because it's funny because during that time with Jay White, remember when he was the IWGP champion, it wasn't favorable at all.
No,
so now,
yeah.
So now when he had that match, that's where it finally was like, yes, finally. Now everybody breathes with Switchblade. Yeah. It took this long.
And then he was the one that announced that Forbidden Door 1 would be in the United Center. So he sold it out. That's our boss. We got to get the paycheck.
That one, yeah, you can say that one.
Well, we got reports of a popular WWE star that is possibly reportedly the lead candidate to win the men's Money in the Bank ladder match this year. And it's LA Knight. Worked wrestling, who has developed an excellent track record of accuracy, tweeted, LA Knight has been discussed eternally as the leading candidate to win this year's Money in the Bank match, #SmackDown. This tweet came after LA Knight was beaten on SmackDown by Xavier Woods, the second time Knight has lost to Woods recently. In fact, Knight's record this year, Josh, is 2-7. He still managed to grow into one of the most popular names in the company among fans, all while still being presented as a heel. I could tell by your you're an LA Knight fan, Cresta. What do you think about him potentially winning the Money in the Bank ladder match?
Anytime I see Xavier Woods taking an L, it's a W for me.
Well, damn. We take a shot to Xavier. Come on. What are we doing?
It's professional wrestling. I'm allowed to not like who I don't like. LA Knight winning. LA Knight would be the guy to do exactly what you said. I'm going to take one title off of your Roman. Yeah, because I know you got.
I know you got to keep that universal. Yeah.
Let me talk to him. I know you got these. I feel like every time LA Knight cuts a promo, he's about to call someone jabroni and Rudy Poo. He leans on the Rock side for me. He's like, yeah, let me talk to him. I know you got these two jabronis waiting in the ring. So let me talk to him. Yeah. I'm going to beat them up. Yeah. And I'm going to lock them in a room. Yeah. So they're not going to come out. And Solo, jabroni. See, I'm going to send his Rudy Poo ass back to Hawaii. Yeah. Where he belongs.
His promo style is a mix of Rock and Austin. 100%. 100%.
Yes. I love it. Is LA Knight going to be the one that takes something off of Roman? I'm not betting against the tribal chief. I learned my lesson with Cody Rhodes. I don't think that's happening.
I learned my lesson too.
The only other time it's gonna happen is maybe when he gets past 1,000 days, and if it doesn't happen, then he's beating Bruno something. So he's gonna have it until 3,000 days.
He's gonna have it 5 more years. If this is
somebody's been saying in chat.
I think Bruno did it twice. Bruno had like one of like 4,000 days, and the other one
he had one for like really short, and then it was the long one. It's like 2,097 some odd days. But if you add his other reign, it comes out to 300. And I have to agree with Bell. At this point, the only one who could beat Roman Reigns is Bianca, because she's Super Cena too. I'm on my own against the Wild. I would take it. All 3 belts, Bianca. Never needed you at all.
I'm a no now. Final WWE note before we get into Raw is WWE has changed the name of an upcoming pay-per-view, and unfortunately, it's the one we all wanted to come back, the King of the Ring and the Queen of the Ring. They announced this week that the company on Thursday, that the PLE on May 27th, or as I like to call it, Roman 1000 Day, is now going to be referred to as WWE Night of Champions. It was originally supposed to be the King and Queen of the Ring show and supposed to be the tournament or the tournament finals on the show. PW Insider reports that the move was a creative choice, quote unquote, to change the name that allows them to revive the name and bring it to an international market. There's no word as of yet regarding why the name has changed and whether the King and Queen of the Ring tournament are still set to take place. This is the first use of the Night of Champions name since 2015, and thus why I think the Usos are just going to win back these titles on April 28th, because Sami Zayn literally can't go to Saudi Arabia because he's Syrian. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. I don't know about this choice. I was looking forward to King and Queen of the Ring, but
let me ask you a fair question. SP3, if that's your real name. Why? What did they do with King and the Queen of the Ring last year? What did Zelina Vega get? What did Xavier Woods get besides a crushed crown?
Also true. I can't argue with you. I can't argue with you there.
Zelina didn't even get a title shot.
Yeah, and that turn, even the women's match, like the tournament itself was so bad because it was like the matches didn't go very long. It didn't mean anything. And then the person that won, she got a tag title?
I don't think Zelina Vega even got the tag title shot while she was. No, she was. She was Queen of the Ring.
She was
Queen of the Ring. But I thought, and
it
this
was
is where the sentence should stop. I thought that you should be able to get a push or something. Even I may be an Xavier Woods hater, but he didn't even get anything for that. Like,
he got a match with Roman and he won by DQ, and he never got another match against him.
And all they did was stomp out his crown. That man was the Burger King for a minute.
They stomped out his crown like it was the Burger King.
A week later,
I'll be back 2 seconds.
Roman wore it and then he stomped it out. That's what happened. Okay. He was wearing. He was wearing the crown, and then it just went to shit after that.
I don't know.
I mean, because even though with Xavier Woods, it was more of like a consolation prize. Like that's because that's what he wanted. So they basically just gave it to him, but didn't. None of it.
The last time the King of the Ring even mattered was King Booker. That's the last time it really mattered in WWE, sadly.
Because he even got a title based off of that. So it was like that's the only time. And usually that's for me, that's what King of the Ring was. King of the Ring, the person that won, they get like a title match, they get a title shot or whatever the case may be. And they just haven't done that so long that now it doesn't even matter. They got like a gimmick. Oh, like King, they got a King gimmick, but that's about it. Like that's all that comes about.
Yeah, that's all they get is a King gimmick that doesn't work with everybody. But this week we had Monday Night Raw. They did 1.818 million viewers. The show featured Solo Sikoa defeating Evan Owens thanks to the Usos. Post-match, the Bloodline attacked KO until Sami Zayn and Matt Riddle arrived at the building very late due to the travel issues to even the odds and make the save. You also had the Usos picking up a tag team victory in a very, very fun matchup against Alpha Academy. You also had Finn Balor defeating Rey Mysterio thanks to help from Dominic Mysterio. Cody Rhodes made his challenge to face Brock Lesnar at WWE WrestleMania Backlash in a spirited promo. Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez defeated Becky Lynch and Trish Stratus, replacing Lita after an attack on Lita earlier in the night backstage. Liv and Raquel became the new tag team champions, and then after the matchup, Trish Stratus turned heel by attacking Becky Lynch to lay her out. That shit did not make any sense at fucking all. why the hell would Trish help Becky and Lita win the tag team titles, help them win a 6-woman tag at WrestleMania, and then just turn on them after she tried to win the matchup against Liv and Raquel? Like, I really enjoyed this episode, and I have to commend WWE and Triple H for putting it together, even with all the travel issues, with people not being able to be on. But that was the glaring error of the whole show. This was microwave booking once again. The cold middle of this whole shit is that none of it makes sense. But what did you think about Trish turning on Becky, Cresta?
Like you said, why? I don't dislike Trish Stratus, but I've always been a Lita fan. And then what was the point of you wrestling? So you attacked her? It's giving Dolph Ziggler. It should have been me. I thought you retired. Didn't you have a match with Charlotte Flair? What is transpiring here? Even if so, that elbow that you gave Becky to the back of the head was it was Crypt Keeper. It was so
almost like
sad.
she fell over, and
it was giving Vince McMahon taking a stunner. And it's like, sis, I get it, but what do you really? I thought we had the retirement match. So you're gonna do a program with Becky Lynch, the man, Miss Becky Lynch that fought Charlotte and Ronda Rousey. What's the truth here? You gonna fight Lita? What is this? 2001? Not to say that I don't want to see it, but I don't want to see that shit. There are plenty of other women on the roster who are beasting for a chance, and this is what we got? I guess.
I don't know what to tell you. I mean, this was flawed. This was flawed in a major way. I was just so confused by all of this, but apparently this is the plan that they've been going on. Work Wrestling made the report in March that Trish would be turning heel and facing Becky Lynch at SummerSlam, and apparently that's still the plan. According to Dave Meltzer on Tuesday's Wrestling Observer Radio, the current WWE plan is to have a Trish Stratus versus Becky Lynch matchup at SummerSlam 2023. Meltzer added that Stratus eventually feuding with Lynch has been the plan for the WWE Hall of Fame since she returned to WWE, initially aligning with Lynch and Lita. It was previously rumored that Stratus would turn heel on Lynch, setting up a match between the two later on. This year's SummerSlam is reportedly scheduled for a little less than 4 months from now on August 5th at Ford Field in Detroit, Michigan. Josh, you watched the show live on Rated Raw Superstars. Do you think that they did this turn a little early if they're going to do this matchup at SummerSlam?
Yeah, I think they did it way too early because I just, for me, I was like, is Trish really gonna stay that long for a program? Like, you know, that's how I took it because she usually goes in and out. So that's kind of, that was part of it, but it's like, you know, if you have 4 months to build, I was like, what can you do to move forward? And, you know, I thought it was a little too soon. We knew the turn was going to happen. I just thought they executed it poorly because none of it made sense. Like the whole, how it transpired, it was like, kind of felt hot shot to me, hot shot booking to me. It felt like they were kind of like at their end ropes and like, all right, let's just do it tonight. I mean, me personally, I didn't like how it was executed. Yeah, that's just what it comes down to. I think it's a little too soon. I didn't like how they executed. And it's just going to be, I just got to wait and see how they're going to build this up if that happens at SummerSlam.
We got Alan Bakey who says, Trish is a hater to Lita. Come on, WWE. We
don't know. That's the thing. That's the thing, too. We don't know what happened because she didn't say nothing. She hasn't said anything. So it's like, it's based off assumption. But even if that's the case, it's just retarded because it's like, what? Like,
and Lita, build to it. Give us some type of
like,
this was going to happen.
Yeah, like this is what we're doing. I was like, oh, come on. Like, I don't like it at all.
What are we even doing? But yeah, Alan Bakey says Becky versus Trish at SummerSlam, Trish versus Lita one more time at WrestleMania 40.
I don't want to see
after Lita's last couple of matches, I do not want to see that.
No, I don't want to see that. No. Like, there are so many people on the roster now, bro. No. I don't care. I'll keep saying no. No, and
No,
I
I just
like
want to
both
see
of
Lita
them, but
again.
no.
Yeah, I just don't want to see Lita again. She should not be wrestling. That's just my opinion on Lita. She should not
That's
be
how I feel
wrestling.
about a lot of some of these older people too when they come back. It's like I get it if you can still go. It's very rare to see an Austin. With Shane McMahon, you wasted my time with that. You came out and then you folded like an egg.
He really did, though. He really
Like,
did.
bro, like father, like son, y'all both on your quads going to the ring.
Live TV.
Why?
Live TV, ladies and gentlemen. WrestleMania, the biggest stage possible. We got to talk about Cresta's favorite person, Logan Paul. He has re-signed with WWE in hilarious fashion. In a post on Twitter, Logan Paul announced that he had signed a new deal with WWE, and Paul previously stated that his contract expired after his match with Seth Rollins at WrestleMania. ESPN reports that it's a multi-year deal. This was confirmed by Triple H, who noted that the deal allows us to see him a bit more regularly as a main character within the show. I say hilariously because this is a Photoshop picture of his original signing picture with WWE. Logan Paul added that Triple H added that Logan has just been a game changer. I mean, he's probably the most natural guy I have ever seen. It's almost like he was made for this business, just being natural as far as talking and being on camera. He's so good at that. And then his athleticism is just next level. He's exactly the kind of guy that I look for as a WWE superstar. Whether he was an influencer or not, he'd be the kind of guy I look for as a superstar. Logan Paul told ESPN, I feel incredibly blessed to have found something that I'm good at 28 years old. And the fact that the organization believes I'm good enough to continue, hopefully building this WWE legacy is mind blowing. And I'm incredibly grateful and incredibly blessed. And as long as I can keep putting on good shows, man, I'm going to keep doing this sport. I do show up. It's memorable. We want to make them impactful. It's hard to do that when you don't have a long contract with a piece of talent, or you're talking about putting a guy over who may not be there next year. The idea with this multi-year contract was to get really creative around the story that we're telling as my professional wrestling career unfolds. Now, I know your feelings on Logan Paul, but as far as Logan Paul in WWE, could you potentially see him as a world champion in WWE, Cresta Starr?
Good for him. I hope he has a good and successful career. I have nothing nice to say about that man. So that's my answer. I good for him. Good for him. Good for him.
Love the same energy. Love the same energy there. Someone who is still with WWE, surprisingly, because we haven't seen him yet, is one of your people from Impact, Cresta Starr, Eric Young. A new report has some details on Eric Young and his status with WWE. It was reported in December that Young was heading back to WWE following the end of his Impact Wrestling run. And Fightful Select reports that Young is in fact under contract with the company and has been since as far as back as November. Young hasn't been on screen yet with the company, and there have not yet been any reports of him being backstage. Young was recruited back to the company a few months after Triple H took over creative, and Impact was made aware that Young would be finishing up with them by October, and he was written off by Impact by being murdered on screen by Dina in a takeover of Violent by Design, now just called The Design. What do you think about Eric Young still not showing up on TV with WWE, Cresta?
I got murdered 3 months ago for nothing. I got violently murdered. I mean, to be fair, you did abuse and mentally assault Cody Deaner. You changed his name from Cody Deaner to just Deaner. That's kind of your comeuppance. But I died for no reason. At least when Taya Valkyrie went to the Shadow Realm, she went to AEW. You just killed me off. And now I'm dead. I'm literally dead. After he was doing, in my opinion, stiff good work in Violent by Design. Yeah, they were losing a lot by the time he got to the end. But before that, they were hostile takeover. So it doesn't make any sense why he's not doing anything. But you know, where my Vince mustache back at? You already know who's in charge. You already know the vibes. Because Sanity was good. And what happened to Sanity? Now we got Nikki Cross, who's sometimes cool, who's sometimes a superhero, who's back to being a gremlin. You got Valhalla out here taking her whole shtick along with Maxie and Payless shtick. Like, well, who's the other person that was Insanity? Fabian Eichner? Oh, no, that was
Alexander Wolf. Yeah, Alexander Wolf.
I haven't seen him on WWE TV.
He's not in the company anymore. Killian Dane's not in the company anymore.
I totally forgot him. Wasn't he in NXT?
Yeah.
I have to go back to I Love New York. Why'd you bring me back, Flav?
Who's married to me?
Why you brought me back, Flav, to open up the same wound, Flav?
Why you brought me back to open up the same wound of not being used? Why you do that, Flav?
Why you do that, Flav? To open up the same wound?
Triple Flav, what you doing? What you doing?
You think I give a fuck? Because I don't. You can't. Like, Triple H, you're not right. You're not right. And even if it's not a Triple H move, it's the same problem I have with Damage Control. Because why'd you bring me back, Flav? To open up the same wound, Flav?
Classic, ladies and gentlemen, one of the classic reality shows of all time. Flav up.
Tiffany Pollard ran so Kim Kardashian can scam you all.
Oh my god! And my missus showed me her on Big Brother. She's even more hilarious on Big Brother.
Oh, New York is an icon.
When she thought David died, David's dead. David's dead. My missus watches that if she wants to laugh. If she wants to laugh, she watches. Is David dead? Go out of your way. Go on YouTube. New York. David's dead. Big Brother. It will make you all laugh.
The best is when she's reading her old Jenna Collins. She's like, "You want your shoes back? Oh, okay, I'll give you your shoes back."
Final WWE note here. At one point, there were rumors that Brock Lesnar might face Gunther at WrestleMania. That, of course, never happened. But now there was rumors that Brock would face Gunther at SummerSlam. And according to the Wrestling Observer newsletter, those reports are not the plans for WWE. They don't have any plans to have that match anytime soon. This includes SummerSlam, which happens in Detroit this August. At this time, if Lesnar is planned for that show, the plans do not involve the current Intercontinental Champion. And while the two haven't had a match yet, they did interact this year at the Royal Rumble. And then finally, to wrap up everything, WWE this week, NXT, they did 528,000 viewers. The show featured Grayson Waller beating Duke Hudson, Dragon Lee, and JD McDonough to become the #1 contender for the NXT Championship and face Carmelo Hayes at NXT Spring Break-In in 2 weeks' time. Tiffany Stratton defeated Sol Ruka. Joe Coffey made his in-ring return, defeating Tank Ledger in one-on-one action, and Ilya Dragunov beat Von Wagner. Yes, yeah, Joe Coffey finally back. He finally got his work.
About Ilya Dragunov. I haven't watched NXT in forever.
Yeah, Ilya, he came back, I think, before Stand and Deliver, and he beat Von Wagner for Robert Stone to finally leave the Encino Man once and for all. Thank God.
Encino Man.
Yes.
Yo, I'll fight you.
He looks like Encino Man. Von Wagner looks like Encino Man, ladies and gentlemen.
Look at the doggy. You have wrestling opinions?
Oh, Prince. Prince is here. We got to spotlight Prince. Hey, Prince, how you doing? What do you think about Von Wagner? Exactly. New Japan Pro Wrestling news note. We just have 2 news notes from New Japan Pro Wrestling. One being the U.S. Championship tournament that they have going on for a shot at the IWGP US Championship. New Japan Pro Wrestling this week announced that Lance Archer, Juice Robinson, Hiroshi Tanahashi, and Will Ospreay will compete in a mini tournament for a shot at the title. Archer will face Robinson this coming Sunday at New Japan Pro Wrestling Collision in Philadelphia, while Ospreay and Tanahashi will do battle at New Japan Pro Wrestling's Resurgence event on May 21st, and the winners will face each other at Dominion on June 4th, with the winner of that match versus Kenny Omega for the IWGP US Championship. I think everyone will be in agreement. We need Will Ospreay to win this tournament and face Omega again at Forbidden Door, right?
Yeah,
no,
yeah. I mean, it's gonna happen. It's Ospreay.
Probably gonna happen, but that poster was hard. It looked like a Street Fighter poster. That poster was hard.
Facts. Facts. Omega looking like a Dawn. I love it.
Like the final boss.
New Japan Pro Wrestling Noah, and All Japan Pro Wrestling have announced a joint event called All Together Again, which happens on June 9th at Ryogoku Sumo Hall. The event will stream live on New Japan World, and a portion of the proceeds will go to charity. Tickets all go on sale for the event on April 23rd. This is the second All Together event since February 2012.
You gotta get out.
Gotta get it out. Gotta let it out.
They don't pay rent.
Now we got to talk about Cresta's favorite show, Impact, on AXS TV. The show featured Micki James officially announcing she has not been medically cleared to compete at Rebellion and relinquish the Impact Knockouts World Championship. It's now going to be Jordynne Grace versus Deonna Purrazzo for the title at Rebellion. We're going to give you preview and predictions for that to close off the show. Y'all got Tasha Steelz defeated Giselle Shaw in one-on-one action, and Kenny King defeated Frankie Kazarian to earn the Team Billy the advantage in the hardcore war at Rebellion. What did you think about Impact on AXS TV this week, and what was your highlight for the show, Cresta?
Impact has been good. I think this is a really good go-home show. If you're looking for action, this is not that good of a show. It tied a lot of bows. Yeah. Josh Alexander getting hurt. I'm exaggerating, but Josh Alexander getting hurt on Monday, Micki James getting hurt on Tuesday, and now on Thursday, us having to hear that none of them are going to go compete is kind of crap. I feel bad for both of them. Micki James is completing her last rodeo. This is going to be, I think, her second or third title defense. Josh Alexander, who's on a historic record run, is now out indefinitely. They really got hit with the 1-2 punch. I'm looking forward to Grace and Deonna in that main event for Rebellion this Sunday, because I absolutely love Deonna Purrazzo. She's like, I break bitches' arms, period. Jordynne Grace has been shredding. I know she just did like a weightlifting competition, but she looks gnarly now. Like, she gives me, I'm gonna pick you up and put you down, and she was already doing that. Bully Ray winning. I mean, this is the first time I could say that Bully Ray made me feel like, okay, Bully Ray, I'm interested. Because this whole time he's been back, I'm like, Jesus Christ, I don't care. Please go away. But it was overbooked, so I get it. I don't expect Bully to win, that team to win. But also at the same time, it's like, what do we do with this story?
It needs to end after this show. Like, end it. I understand they didn't want to end it with a one-on-one match. I would never want to see another Dreamer versus Bully matchup. So this seems like the hardcore war is the best way to do it, because it puts over more people. And we got a super chat donation here from the Negro Buck Dick Jackson. Thank you so much, good brother. And he says, Cresta on Blunt Impact in the future. Blunt Impact is our Impact Wrestling watch along, where the fellas smoke blunts as they watch Impact Wrestling.
Let me tell you something, brother. Let me tell you something right here, brother. Why do you think I like wrestling so much? Listen. If you are watching wrestling sober, that's your fault.
I approve this message.
Also, I can't, because I actually have to pay it. Listen, I show up to Fightful only a little bit. I've seen people show up to Fightful like, yo, it's good, dog. Sup, dog? I can't do that.
Shout out to my boys over there at Fightful, because I know who you talking about. I ain't gonna shout anybody out too much. But
I love y'all, but come on now, open up your eyes. See, young man, see.
You ain't Chinese. Tom Hannafin is read up with Impact Wrestling in the news in the press release put out by Anthem earlier on Monday, hyping up their Q1 2023 results. The company noted that the announcer re-signed during the first quarter. Hannafin signed with the company back in January of 2022, and he previously worked in WWE as Tom Phillips. In an interview with Ring the Bell, Jodie Threat confirmed that she has also signed a contract with Impact Wrestling, where she made her debut last week. She says, it's my first contract ever. I feel so lucky being a Canadian. It's very hard to get eyes on you, very hard to get those reps in and get out there and just get to a point where a company wants to invest in you, because there is a working visa that goes along with it. I'm just really feeling so ecstatic, so lucky to have been chosen by a company to this level with such a great locker room that has decided to invest in me. So congratulations congratulations to both getting re-signed. And then the final show that we missed this week, ROH TV, the show featured Claudio Castagnoli defeating Matt Talik to retain the ROH World Championship. You also had Athena beat Ashley D'Ambrose in a proving ground matchup. You also had Katsuyori Shibata and Alex Coughlin beat the Workhorsemen. Post-match, Coughlin seemingly challenged Shibata for the ROH Pure Championship. And then Eddie Kingston cut a fantastic promo stating that he will be out of action with a back injury following Supercard of Honor. Really good show from ROH TV this week. But that brings us to Chrissy Love's favorite portion of the show, Match of the Week, where we will give you our top 5 matches from this past week, from last Saturday to last night. I will start everything off because I made a hint that I made this now an adjustment because I had to put matches from New Japan this week instead of last week. So number 5, I will say Orange Cassidy versus Buddy Matthews from AEW Dynamite. Really enjoyed that matchup. Number 4, Darby Allin versus Swerve Strickland from AEW Dynamite. Number 3, I'm going to go with Mercedes Moné versus Azumi versus Hazuki from New Japan Pro Wrestling Sakura Genesis. Number 2, I'm going to go with Sanada versus Okada from Sakura Genesis. And number 1, Aussie Open versus Bishamon from Sakura Genesis. That was a great matchup. Love that matchup. Josh, what's your 5 for this week?
Well, I actually do have the same top 5, but it's a little different. Number 5 was Darby and
Swerve.
Then Orange and what do you face again? Matthews, right? Buddy?
Yeah, Matthews.
And then the last 3, I actually had Aussie Open, number 3. Number 2, I had Sanada and Okada, so that was right. And then number 1, I had the triple threat women's match for the IW. Just because, she's been killing it, man. Mercedes, she looks complete. Like I said last week, she looks like a completely different wrestler. I mean, she was already good in WWE in the ring, don't get me wrong. But it's like now, it was like she really like elevated her game. So it's been fun to watch. Yeah.
I've been loving the work she's been doing with Mayu Iwatani to hype up next week's Queendom event with her singing the song Mayu Sucks and then attacking her and putting her through the table, and then also her attack on this morning show with Stardom was a lot of fun as well.
It's been great. She's been awesome to watch. So I've been happy to see that from her because I know she really did miss that. She did miss professional wrestling, and to see her just having fun, I think that's been great to see.
That's been the best part for sure. Cresta, it's on you. What's your 5 from this past week? You muted.
Hi, I totally didn't swear.
He don't believe you.
That's fair. That's fair. I am known to be a liar.
What's your 5 for the week?
So I would say before I was so rudely muted that I don't have like a breadth of knowledge like you guys do. I got Raw, Impact, and AEW. So we gonna start with our number 5. 5 is completely for selfish reasons. I enjoy watching Bronson Reed wrestle because I've lust in my eyes and sin in my heart. So that's number 5.
I think that's fair. I think because that was actually a really good match.
All things considered, lust aside, Bobby Lashley trying his hardest to get around old boy's neck because Bronson Reed is a thick man. I like it.
I like the storytelling.
Coming in at number 4 is Kenny Omega almost killing John Moxley with that.
She's like, I'm not even going to go with a match. I liked seeing Kenny try to stab somebody.
Because honestly, after last week, the BCC, them as heels have been menaces. This is what, what's that thing that Mustafa Ali tried to run? Retribution. Yeah. Retribution. BCC is what Retribution wish they were, and I'm here for it. So Kenny Omega trying to get his comeuppance and stabbing the thing so hard that it stuck in it. Like, wow, you was really trying to kill John Moxley. Damn, you said you going to take this vacation. damn.
Yeah. Well, Moxley was great too because remember the first time when Kenny was about to hit him, Moxley was like telling him like to do it, and then once he took out the screwdriver, Moxley was like,
chill.
like that's when he was like, no.
I thought we was wrestling. You out here trying to decapitate me. I don't know.
I don't know what mess you on, man.
Like you doing something. What am I? 4 or is that 3? Because I can't numbers.
That was 4.
All right.
Now you're at 3.
I don't know if I have 5. I don't know if I have 5. Coming in at number 3, Tasha Steelz versus Giselle Shaw. I'm gonna say that I adore and I love Giselle Shaw, and I will say this publicly. I think what Rick Steiner did to you was awful.
Yes.
He deserves a big old uppercut right in the stomach, and I also shame on everyone who saw that go down and didn't do anything.
Facts.
That being said, I've watched Giselle Shaw for like over a year now, and she has gotten so much better. Her knees, her strikes are stiff, and seeing Tasha Steelz back brought joy to my heart. I love Tasha Steelz. I think she's so funny and is super underrated. So that match itself was really good. Number 2, I'm gonna have to give it. Was that last? That was Monday. That was Kevin Owens and it was Kevin Owens versus Solo. I was like, that wasn't the Usos match. No, it was Kevin Owens versus Solo. I think Solo Sikoa, from being a relative, your NXT guy and enforcer, has come into his own so much. So much. And I think that Solo Sikoa, if there is someone who's going to turn on Roman and shoot and jump the gun, it should be Solo. And Jimmy and Jay be like, yo, I ain't going to let you beat on my little brother. He's a little slow. I don't do that. I don't beat on my brother. You know what I mean? My number 1 spot of the week, I had it and it's gone. Oh my God. Don't do drugs. Don't do drugs. Okay. Now I remember. My number one spot goes to Dominic just overall this week. Now, is Dominic the best wrestler? No. Is Dominic the best promo cutter? Also no. But Dominic embraces the heat in a way that if Ronda Rousey would have embraced it, she'd be the number 1 woman heel in professional wrestling right now.
That's a show.
Dominic is giving a masterclass on Boo Me Baby. It's just applause from ghosts. Boo Me Baby. Boo Me Baby. He is so good. And I think that for only a year and some change, Dominic is really showing you what happens when you lean into the character. And this stuff with LWO is getting over everybody involved. So I got my match of the week goes to anything Dominic, because Dominic don't really wrestle. He just kind of runs around.
He runs around and gets heat. That's what he's here for. That's what he's here for, and he does it well.
Yeah, he does it. You know, he does well too. Is like when he hears that massive like heat, he like gets lost. Like he feels like it's like surprised that he's getting it. That's what makes it great too. Yeah, he does that.
He has to ask them, like, they booing me?
Why you booing me? I'm a gangster. I went to jail. You went to holding, Dominic. That's jail, okay? I'm a god. I mean, it's so good. And I can't wait for him to actually start doing real heel shit. Because when he actually starts doing real heel shit, now he's chicken shit JBL. When he starts really doing Bully Ray heel shit, Jeff Jarrett heel shit, oh, I can't wait.
It's gonna be great. We got huge shows coming up this weekend. Tonight, you got Capital Collision for New Japan Pro Wrestling in Washington, D.C. That's why our producer is not here with us. Then you got Collision in Philadelphia tomorrow night. Start with Capital Collision. We're only going to do predictions for the top matches on the card. You got on the pre-show, it's going to be TMDK versus the West Coast Wrecking Crew. The first match on the main card is going to be Team Rocky Romero teaming up with Chuck Taylor, Clark Connors, the DKC, and Leo Rush to first team. Volador Jr., who's teaming up with Speedball Mike Bailey, Gabriel Kidd, Kevin the Jet Knight, and Kushida. Then you also got Juice Robinson going one-on-one with Fred.
Hard, Juice Robinson, say it right.
Rock hard Juice Robinson going one-on-one with Fred Rosser after costing him the strong openweight championship at Battle in the Valley. You have David David Finlay, the new leader of the Rebel Club, going one-on-one with AR Fox. David Finlay has teased that we're going to see a new member of the Bullet Club at Capital Collision in Philadelphia. For the NJPW World Television Championship, we'll do predictions for this match here. Zack Sabre Jr. will defend against Filthy Tom Lawler. Zack Sabre Jr. has been killing it as the television champion. I'm going with ZSJ. Who you got, Josh?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with. I think Zack retains it.
Cresta?
I didn't even know Zack was still wrestling. This man is a monolith. Zack Sabre, like no tea, and I don't mean that no disrespect, but I feel like he's the ghost of Toshiba. Like,
Yo,
I'm
come
done.
on, Zack Sabre, come on now. Like, this man. Didn't he wrestle Shibata? Hasn't he wrestled? He's wrestled everybody. This man has been wrestling as long as Alex Shelley and Chris Sabin been wrestling, and they're wrestling unks.
I don't even think it's been that long. He just felt that long.
I feel like he's been wrestling since the beginning of Impact, and I could be wrong, but you can't tell me nothing because I'm Kanye and I'm delusional.
Oh, so I guess you're taking Zack in this one.
Yeah, we're going with Zack.
Tomohiro Ishii will go one-on-one with El Desperado. Who you got in this one, Josh?
This is a good one.
Yeah, this should be a great match.
I'm gonna go with El Desperado because usually when I watch Ishii matches, he usually loses. Unfortunately,
I'm gonna go with Ishii actually in this one because I think it's gonna set up because El Desperado's 1/3 of the 6-man tag team champions in New Japan. I think it's gonna set up Ishii getting a shot with Bishamon.
Oh, that makes sense. That makes sense.
Cresta?
I don't know who El Desperado is, so I was gonna go with Tamaroshi Ishii.
Tomohiro.
Wow! Okay. Let me say this right now. If this man comes and slaps me in the chest, it's over for me. I'm just going to disappear. I've seen his matches, and you would think I would know his name. I'm sorry.
He's going to chop you, or you're going to look like this. Oh.
Anybody else hot? Anybody else hot? I'm hot. Anybody else hot?
Oh, with the stray.
I mean, that's fine. Come on. I've seen his matches. He had a match with Eddie Kingston where the whole match was,
That was great, too. That was a great
match with Josh Alexander was great. I love that one.
All you do is slap people. You going to slap my wig off. I'm going to be bald. Stokely Halfway going to have to come and collect me from daycare. Come on now.
Tag team action. You're going to see Los Ingonables de Japón represented by Tetsuya Naito and Hiromu Takahashi going against the new IWGP World Heavyweight Champion Sanada and Yoshinobu Kanemaru of Just 5 Guys. I'm going with Just 5 Guys. Got to keep the momentum for Sanada. Who you got, Cresta?
I don't know who's going to win here, so whatever you picked, I'm going Just 5 Guys. 5 Guys. I like burgers. 5 Guys.
Exactly. Just 5 Guys. Who you got, Josh? Josh?
Oh, sorry, I was muted. No, I'm gonna go with Just 5 Guys. I'm gonna go with them. You gotta keep like you say, you gotta keep the momentum with them.
And for the strong openweight championship, it's going to be Kenta defending against Eddie Edwards. Your Impact brethren. You got to go for your Impact brethren.
I'm going
Edward
with Kenta.
Edwards.
No. Kenta, no. I cut the line. Kenta.
He's like, you crossed the line. You crossed the line there. Oh, Josh, who you got? Kenta.
Kenta easily.
And then I'm going with Kenta as well.
I'm about to say, come on, who you got?
For the strong openweight to tag team championships, you got the Motor City Machine Guns defending against the IWGP tag team champions Aussie Open and the Dream Team Love and Rain, Kazuchika Okada and Hiroshi Tanahashi. I think Aussie Open walks out with 2 sets of tag team titles. They win here. Who you got, Josh?
I'm gonna go with Aussie Open. I think they win the titles as well. So let's see.
We the fans are the winners, number one.
Yes, most
but
definitely.
I also agree that Aussie Open is coming out of there with 2 titles. When is that wrestling match supposed to happen?
Oh, tonight. This one, the
Oh, so you definitely losing that Rebellion tomorrow, Motor City Machine Guns. Oh, y'all getting lit up all weekend. Yikes. And y'all got an Ultimate X match tomorrow. Ooh.
It's a
I love
bad
Motor City
weekend.
Machine Guns.
Bad
It's about to be a
weekend for the
bad
Machine
weekend
Guns.
for the.
You picked the wrong weekend, cuz. We'll only do the top matches for this card here, but Collision in Philadelphia tomorrow night. You got El Desperado teaming up with Volador Jr. to verse Kevin Jet Knight and Delirious. You got Alex Coughlin going one-on-one with Tracy Williams in an ROH Pure Rules matchup. TMDK will verse Team Filthy in 6-man tag team action. You got Just Five Guys represented by Sonata, the IWGP World Heavyweight Champion, and Yoshinobu Kanemaru versus Rocky Romero and Fred Rosser. And this could be for the International Championship, AEW International Championship on the line. Orange Cassidy versus Gabriel Kidd. I'm going with Orange Cassidy here. Cresta.
Orange.
Cassidy.
Orange. Yeah, I'm just going with orange. Like
Los Ingonables de Japón, Naito and Hiromu will face Bullet Club's Kenta and Chase Owens. I'm going with LIJ here. Josh?
LIJ.
Cresta?
I'll go with Bullet Club. You can't bet against Kenta.
Oh.
Hey, I bet it for Kenta one time. I ain't doing it multiple times.
That's fair. He's like, you get one.
Only get one. This one will be the first round of the IWGP US Championship Tournament. It's going to be Juice Robinson versus Lance Archer. I'm going to go with Lance Archer here. He's always booked better in New Japan than AEW.
Okay, fair. I was going to say Lance Archer's a loser. I like Lance Archer. I really do. I think he deserves more respect, but you're absolutely right. He gets booked better everywhere else but AEW. I don't know. I'm going to say Juice Robinson, though. Rock hard, Juice Robinson. He's been on a tear. He's truly been on a tear in multiple promotions. So Lance Archer, you need to get a lawyer because this is ridiculous.
Josh?
I'm going with Lance. I don't think it really hurts Juice, but I'll go with Lance.
And the main event is going to be 6-man tag team action. United Empire represented by TJP and Aussie Open versus Hiroshi Tanahashi, Tomohiro Ishii, and Lio Rush. I'm going with Team Tanahashi here. Cresta? Team
Tanahashi. I don't know. Something about TJP just gives me angst. And I'm kind of over that. I'm going with Tanahashi. Sorry. I hope you're going to win the night before, okay? Stop being greedy.
You're fine. Josh?
I'm going with Team Tanahashi.
Very nice. It's going to be a very fun show from New Japan Pro Wrestling tonight and tomorrow night. But tomorrow night, you also got AAA, Triple Mania 31 in Monterrey. You got Copla, Triple Mania Monterrey, which is going to be a 10-person tag team matchup. You're also going to see Chessman versus Adrian Marcelo. You got the tournament to determine who's going to go up against each other in a mask versus hair matchup. First, you're going to have it's going to be Blue Demon Jr. and DMT Azula versus Roosh and LA Park. You're also going to have Pentagon Jr. and Alberto Patron.
He still wrestle?
Yes, he does. Versus Sam Adonis and Psycho Clown. You got you got a 10-man cage matchup, where the final two will face each other in a mask versus mask matchup to save either their mask or their hair, depending on which wrestlers it is. And then finally, the match we will do predictions on is the main event, AAA Mega Championship, El Hijo del Vikingo defending against Commander, Impact Wrestling's Rich Swann, and AEW's Swerve Strickland. Cresta, who you got?
Holy shit, that match is going to be good.
It's going to be fucking awesome.
Holy shit. I've seen El Hijo de Vikingo wrestle one time, and I'm putting my money exactly on that man. What he does in that ring reminds me of shades. Remember when that gif was going around of Will Ospreay and Prince Puma flippy doing in the ring? Vikingo, period. And everyone else in that match is going to be amazing. But Vikingo he's different. He is different.
I'm going with Vikingo as well. Josh, you going to make it unanimous?
Yeah, I'm going with Vikingo.
And then after all of that, it's Impact a Rebellion 2023
I'm never gonna
tomorrow
watch this
night.
thing again after this.
After this weekend, it's over. You got the Coven is going to be defending the Impact Knockouts tag team titles against the Death Dolls. Who you got in this one, Cresta?
Honestly, I think the Coven wins, and we see a returning Jessica Havoc. I think Jessica's been really cool. I like Jessica, but since Taya left and an inch more towards Magic, I see this a return of Havoc and the Coven retaining. I see the Coven retaining.
I got the Coven retaining as well. Josh?
The Coven.
We got Heath and Rhino versus Champagne Singh and Shira on the countdown to Rebellion as well. Who you got in this one, Cresta?
Champagne Singh and Shira, they're trying to push this storyline. It's giving, it was bum ass Baron Corbin, but they made it big in Vegas, so that's where we're at right now. And not for nothing, Heath and Rhino, yeah, I like them.
Win. They never win.
When they win, they lose.
Soon thereafter, but I'm gonna have faith in my brother Heath and Rhino. I'm going with Heath and Rhino. Who you got, Josh?
I'm gonna go with Heath and Rhino.
We got the Design going up against Team Santino, as Santino's going to team with Joe Hendry, Dirty Dango, and it's going to be a 6-man tag team matchup. Callahan's going to try to eliminate the Authority to complete his 7th step. Who you got, Cresta?
Say his name and he appears. I believe in Joe Hendry. I'm going to go with Joe Hendry here, only because the Design has been cutting their own nose off to spite their face. Last night on, it's a Saturday, so Thursday night on Impact, freaking, there was a miscommunication. Instead of Dean or letting Callahan just tag in, you want to yell at Callahan about this, the 7th step. Yo, Joe Hendry's going to motivate the shit out of Callahan. So I'm going with Joe Hendry. I'm not betting against Joe Hendry. You got a better chance of me rooting for Charlotte Flair than me betting against Joe Hendry.
I'm going to actually go with the Design on this one. So you're the tiebreaker, Josh.
I'm going to go with Joe Hendry.
That's right. We believe. We believe.
Yeah, acting like Santino and Dirty Dango ain't there to lose. You got
Shut up.
PCO will run one-on-one with Eddie Edwards in a last rites match, which is basically a casket matchup. I'm going with PCO to finally beat Eddie Edwards. Cresta?
Us fans are the losers here. I've seen PCO get buried alive. I've seen PCO get hit by a car. I've seen PCO walk from the desert back to Vegas just to get hit by a car again. Like, honestly,
you got to do something someday. Come on, this is the time.
It's probably gonna be Edwards, but I admit don't care. I don't care. I'm going to the bathroom during this. I'm not gonna hold you. I don't care. Take it how you do. I don't care.
You're the tiebreaker again. PCO.
I'm gonna go with PCO.
I see we're in agreement there. And then you got the Hardcore War, Team Dreamer versus Team Bully. Team Bully is going to be Moose, Brian Myers, Masha Slamovich, and Kenny King. Team Dreamer is Bhupinder Jinder or something like that.
Bhupinder Gujar. I got you. Bhupinder
Huja. Yuri Uemura, Killer Kelly, and Frankie Kazarian. I'm going with Team Dreamer to end this shit finally. Josh?
Team Dreamer.
Cresta?
I'm actually going with Team Bully here. I don't care who wins. I just want this to end. I don't care. But Bully got a lot of meanies on there. And Masha Slamovich is going to beat the ever-loving shit out of Killer Kelly. Sorry, I like Killer Kelly. I do. But Masha Slamovich is also different. She's different. Different.
We got the match I'm looking forward to, probably the most, one of the two matches I'm looking forward to most. A elimination match for the X Division Championship. Trey Miguel defending against Jonathan Gresham and Speedball Mike Bailey. I got Jonathan Gresham turning heel and winning the X Division Championship. Cresta?
I actually got Trey Miguel cheating to win. But I do see Gresham turning heel. But this is going to be a good match regardless. I think Speedball should win. I think Gresham should win. I think Trey should win. But Gresham is absolutely turning heel, but I don't know who wins. But my money's on Trey. Trey is going to be like, I'm spraying you in the face. I don't care.
Trey loves the multi-man matches. He told me himself. Josh, who you got?
I think Trey retains. I think I'm gonna go with Trey. I do agree with Gresham. At some point, maybe that's tonight, maybe after the match, maybe after the fact, but I do think Trey is gonna retain.
For the Impact World Tag Team Championships in an Ultimate X match, ABC, the Ace and Bay Connection, the Bullet Club's Ace Austin and Chris Bay versus the Motor City Machine Guns, Chris Sabin and Alex Shelley. This is Chris Sabin's 20th Ultimate X matchup for every year he's been in the business. Who you got in this one, Cresta?
I'm honestly going with Aces of Bays, ABC. But Motor City Machine Guns are going to make them work for it. That's going to be a really good match. But they're going to make them work for every inch of it. But I see Aces of Bays retaining.
That's going to be a banger. I'm going with ABC to retain. Who you got, Josh?
Yeah, I go with Aces and Bay retaining.
This one should, I wouldn't argue if this was the main event. You got Jordynne Grace versus Deonna Purrazzo to determine a new Knockouts World Champion, two-time Knockouts champion. Who's walking out a 3-time champion, Cresta?
Me. I'm the winner. I win. This match is going to be so good. I cannot call this match. I think Grace absolutely deserves this. I think Purrazzo absolutely deserves this. My heart says it's probably going to be Grace. Grace has been involved in more, like they both have connection with Micki James, but Grace has really been in the forefront. And then we could get that Masha Slamovich, Grace salty run back, and Masha beat the shit out of Grace. Like, not saying that's not going to be a good match, but I want them both to win, but I think it's going to be Grace because it sets up Masha down the line, and Masha should have been beat Grace. And not to say that the both of them aren't good, but Masha should have been beat Grace. And I don't want Grace to lose either, so I'm at a catch-22 here. But I think Grace wins, Purrazzo goes on to do something else, and Masha gets beat by Grace.
Grace gets beat by Masha. I'm going to say Jordynne Grace turns heel and wins. Thanks to Jonathan Gresham. They're the new power couple in Impact Wrestling, X Division and Knockouts champions.
I don't know, man. What you gonna do with Macklin then?
Macklin's the top heel. He's the top heel, but we need a new heel power couple, and I think that's.
I'm gonna go with Grace. I don't know if that's what's gonna happen, but I think it sets with Grace when you put her up front. I think that sets up more.
I agree.
And I agree
think
with
Purrazzo's great, but I don't know what you do with her afterwards.
Yeah.
And she just turned babyface. It's better if she chases the title if she is going to get it back again. But let's talk about the main event here for the Impact World Championship. A new champion will be crowned. Steve Macklin going one-on-one with Kushida. Of course, Josh Alexander was the longest reigning Impact Wrestling World Champion. He unfortunately had to relinquish the title after getting injured. So who will be the new champion, Josh?
I think Steve Macklin. I think this is his time. He's been really on a roll with Impact. Like, you talk about like his entire run with WWE compared to now, is this the same guy that he had?
Come on now.
He's been a great heel. You know, he's been great in all aspects. So I really think that this is probably going to be the moment that they're going to pull the trigger on.
Cresta?
Steve. I'm going with Steve. Steve Macklin. Ben deserved this. It sucks that it has to go out this way. And I think them making Steve tap to Kushida tried to give me hope. But that's why I can see Deonna Purrazzo winning. Because Deonna Purrazzo, even if she's a baby face, she's still much a tween. She's like Seth Rollins. She's going to do heel shit. We're still going to cheer for her because we like her no matter what. So I could see her, but I definitely see Steve Macklin winning this. It's nothing personal against Kushida. And I think, again, much like with the Motor City Machine Guns match, Kushida's going to make Macklin work for this. Yeah. But Macklin should have been champion. I think if this was Josh versus Macklin, it would still be the same result of Macklin being champ.
Yeah, I think this was always built into Macklin's coronation, getting big heat in Josh's hometown.
In the hometown, bro. Coming out to the national anthem heat. That's so American. That's violently American.
He's a Marine. Come on, man. He's getting this win. It's gonna be the culmination of Steve Maclin's rise up the ranks, and he's gonna become the Impact World Champion. But I think this is gonna be a great show. It's gonna be a bunch of great shows this weekend. So that brings us to a close on another edition of Tru Heel Heat. Want to thank Cresta Starr for joining us. Always a star, always bringing the laughs with her mustache and everything. Cresta, please let the people know. And thank you so much for joining us. We will always welcome you back. You are officially a member of the Cookout. You already know that. Your family here. Please let the people know where they can follow you on social media, everything you got going on, Fightful Wrestling, and everywhere else.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Cresta Starr, CRESTASTARR. Anywhere you can type those letters, you can find me on the internet with the exception of Twitter. It's Cresta D Star because Elon Muskrat hates me. Mondays and Wednesdays, you can find me on twitch.tv/Cresta Starr, where I'm sometimes in drag, where you'll see this mustache and sometimes a beard. I've been given Jebediah recently. Thursdays, you can see me over on Fightful. Myself and Joe Pearl go over everything that happens on Impact. And tomorrow, which is going to be Rebellion, I will be doing the post show. Myself and Steven Jensen will be hosting it. And Joe Pearl, if he's going, we're going to get Joe Pearl like George Iceman on the scene. If he's not going, it'll be myself, Joe Pearl, and Steven Jensen. RuPaul is over. So Fridays, again, you can now catch me back on twitch.tv, where we'll be watching SmackDown and Rampage until approximately May 12th, when RuPaul's All-Stars start again, because RuPaul and Vince McMahon are the same person.
Listen to this woman. Listen to this woman. She drops facts on this show. Josh, thank you so much for filling in for Miss Chrissy Love this week. I appreciate you, good sir. Let the people know where they can follow you.
You can follow me at Jampunk321, Twitter and Instagram. And I'll be back for Monday night. Radio Raw Superstars for Monday Night Raw on Monday. Wednesdays, Elite Heat. I'll be on for that as well.
And you can follow me on the Twitter machine at Tru Heel SP3. Follow the gang, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Tru Heel Heat. $3 gets you in the door for patreon.com/Tru Heel Heat for more exclusive content. The Tru Heel Heat Prediction Championship is going on right now, so go over and check that out. And we got plenty of great content here on the Tru Heel Heat YouTube channel. Check out my interview with the new Impact Wrestling World Champion Steve Maclin. He's going to be the new champion after tomorrow. And of course, join us tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern time, for our NJPW Capital Collision watch along. And join us tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern time for our Impact Wrestling Rebellion, AAA Triple Mania 31, and New Japan Pro Wrestling Collision in Philadelphia watch alongs, because we watch it all here on the Tru Heel Heat YouTube channel. Plus, Serving Face and Heels tomorrow at 11:05 a.m. Eastern time. Miss Chrissy Love, Stephanie Hypes will be back to talk about everything women's wrestling. But thank you so much once again to Cresta Starr. Thank you so much to Josh for filling in. It is me, your Tru Heel Phenom SP3. This has been Tru Heel Heat 221, Punk Everlasting. We are signing off until next time.